Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's broadcast of the Aegis Defenders League, where we have got a matchup from the bottom of the table here. Pograts taking on Ivy Gaming Crystal Song. Both of these squads looking for their first win here in the ADL, sitting at 0-5. 1-10 game records apiece, so somebody here going to be tripling their game record here tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's gonna be an interesting one. Some might dare say banger of the low end here, but we'll see how it goes as we see these bands come out. I'm liking the Hecarim and the Zeri bands right away, just because Pog plays the Hecarim way too much. I mean, you look at his match history; he was just playing it like a madman between yesterday and today. So, but it's Hecarim. Hecarim's also just really good right now for jungle. Has the nice clear, but really good gank ability.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, fan favorites are the Pograts. Big fan of going on in the community for these guys. So a lot in the Twitch chat, in the Discord. Going to be hoping to see these guys get their first win here tonight. Fiora going to join the list of bans here, and it is going to be Jinx locked on in first for the Pograts. Both of these rosters also been dealing with a couple of roster issues as they've gone throughout the season. The top laner for the Pograts been missing for a substantial portion of the games. Marowak's just able to play the last 3 games with the squad. They've been subbing Lower Heaven in the top lane during that time. And meanwhile, Ezio over on the side of Ivy has similarly only been able to get in here for 2 games, but now going to be rejoining the rest of the main squad as Aphelios is locked on in, and we're hovering Rammus again. I got baited by this yesterday in the AVL. Let's see if I can get baited by it again, but now it's going to be the Jarvan getting locked on in.
Yeah, Jarvan. I mean, I just feel like it's just really simple, really good too, especially for the fact that he kind of counters Renata that little bit too. Like if you use her ultimate and he throws down the flag, he just hits his flag because it's a unit. So it's great.
That's interesting. I had not I did not know that works that way, but that's something new that I get to learn today. That Kindred lock-in coming on through here for the Pograts. They're hovering the Zillion. Zillion Kindred is a throwback. I remember Cloud9 running this team like way back in like 2019-ish, I think it was. It's going to get locked on in here this time around. Probably going to be in the mid lane. Not out of the question for it to be showing up in that support role. But I'm assuming that it's going to be mid to back up this Kindred and to just make her unkillable for a ridiculous amount of time.
Definitely. I mean, hey, the longer you keep her up, the more stacks she could get, and the more that she could just farm. Yeah, of course, definitely do that. I mean, a double revive basically, or a double, I should say, a revive and an invulnerability. Yeah, it's just 2 really good ults. But this is where you kind of counter it with having a Blitzcrank there.
Yeah, I like to see displacement up against Kindred, getting people outside of the Lamb's Respite. Really impactful, really a big deal, really throws a wrench into the game plan that Pograts is going to be putting together here. The Zillion might interrupt that a little bit. Feels like, you counter out one death-defying ultimate, but you play right into the hands of another. If Zillion can get the ulti in on whoever has been hooked on in, it's going to basically work like another Zhonya's. He's just going to be able to res back on up and keep the fight going after that channel does complete. But nonetheless, we'll work out in some scenarios. We'll work out less effectively in others. Tom Kench going to be banned away. Morgana going to join them here for the side of Ivy. See, as both of these squads, well, the squad of Ivy is pinching supports. Pograts surely are focusing towards top lane with that Tom Kench ban as the Blitzcrank's already been locked on in.
Yeah, I mean, Blitzcrank, I love everything with it. It's still baiting out supports like that. I'm okay with it. I think it's just really important to try to make your lane that little bit easier. And that's where I do like that Silas ban, I think, there, just because of the fact that the 3 ults you see so far from Pog are actually like really good to hijack.
Yeah, they really are. 2 of them kind of do the same thing, but, those defensive ultimates on Silas can be super effective here. They're going to ban it away, though. That's going to lead Ivy to lock on in the Zoe here, so they're saving their top laner for very last. Going to blind the Zoe, quote-unquote blind the Zoe. They can guess that they're up against the Zillion and trust that they're going to be able to just try to shove on in that matchup, get some good roam timers there. with that mid laner. Now, the Braum being covered by the Pograts to play up against this Aphelios, up against this Blitzcrank, does do moderately well up against the Blitzcrank, has the option of, throwing up Unbreakable, doesn't stop the hook, but does just kind of give yourself a whole big hitbox there to tank the hook and to stop Jinx from ever getting brought on in, so has a little bit of value in there. And now the blind top laner for Pograts is going to be the last one to determine. That Braum pick does also solidify the Zilean as heading towards the mid lane.
Yeah, Zilean definitely going mid. I kind of expected it. We saw what Takuli was playing it last week, so and I think the week before. So I look at that. It's getting that little bit of resurgence. It works with those kind of picks that you kind of need to have, like the extra survivability. But this is where they're kind of really coming out hard from Ivy. Like you're getting a lot of good CC and just the counterability of like, oh, you want to do stuff? No, like. Even with the Soraka hover there, you have Gragas that can displace now, which gets some of that lands respite, like you talk about, and then the Zoe that could just sleep someone super easy. I mean, I'm liking Ivy right now, but we do have a Jax coming out from Pog, and I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, for sure. The Gragas is going to be the lock-on in from Ivy. They were hovering the Soraka there for a while. And I believed it for a moment. Mitochondrian has played the Soraka top once already this season. Is not going to be showing a reprisal of that this time around. It is going to be the Gragas taken up against this Jax. Will be that powerful frontliner in the later game. Will carry with it a little bit of displacement. Is also very, very good up against the Kindred. So a lot of technology being put in here from the side of Ivy into being able to get people outside of the Lamb's Respite and still be able to finish them off after that fact. They've indexed really hard into being able to counter out that ultimate. Now let's see how the rest of their team comp ends up playing into, the rest of the Pograts team comp. There's double backliners here. Gonna be the Zilean buffing on up these 3 powerful AD carries, 2 ranged, 1 melee in the form of the Jax. Whereas disrupting them, slowing them down, stopping them from being able to accomplish that is going to be the dive power of this Jarvan, the displacement power of this Gragas, Zoe's pick potential, with Aphelios just playing in the backline being that safe AD carry who will be able to, represent that damage threat coming into the later game.
Yeah, I mean, this is where you kind of see the EL AD and you worry a little bit about. I mean, yes, obviously you get some AP from Zilean, but I was like, well, like you said, it's 3 ADCs. I don't know how this one's gonna go, but that's where again you have really good counter from Ivy. I feel like you have a little bit of split damage between, or I should say mixed damage between. You have some AP, you have some AD. It's not feeling like it's all one-sided. Put all your eggs into one basket, with AD. So I like that from Ivy, but I really would like to see Pograts come out with this one, just because you talk about it, like they have really good survivability. You have again the Jax, the Kindred, and the Jinx that can scale well. So I'd love to see Jax beat down some people, and get some good follow-ups from Big Daddy Braum with those glacial fissures.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to be on Alpha Sean a little bit on the Zoe, see what he's going to be able to do. Oh, that's Sac Delay. So they do have one of their substitutes coming on in here. Alpha Sean not going to be playing today. Sac Delay going to be coming in on the Zoe instead. So nonetheless, Sac Delay going to be who I have my eyes on in the mid lane on this Zoe. Fire Ice Demon on this Zilean. This is going to be his first game on it this split, to my knowledge. Never mind, it's his second game on it this split. But nonetheless, it's a tough champion to navigate in lane. You only have 2 damaging abilities. They're the bomb and the second bomb. And if you even end up missing one of those, your damage drops off immensely. So very difficult to plan out this champion. Very little room for error in landing your skills to be able to actually trade effectively. So if Zoe, could dodge away from even one of these bombs, then she's not going to be stunned. She's going to take 50% of the damage that Zilean can actually produce, and she's going to come out ahead on these trades every single time. Eyes going to be on if Sac Delay is going to be able to accomplish that, going to be able to outlane the Zilean, and conversely, if Fire Ice Demon is going to be able to navigate it as successfully as possible and come out even, or even just a tiny bit behind here on that Chronomancer.
Yeah, I really hope that they both kind of get ahead, but I would like to see, again, like you said, Soccer Lay. I would like to see Soccer Lay get ahead, just so we can kind of see. I mean, it's a sub, so I always like seeing when we have other players in, just because if you're not made roster, gosh, highlights shows the potential of why you're on the team and everything there. But yeah, I really would like to see the Zoe 2 just kind of pop off. And again, Zoe's are menaces. Both of these champions. I mean, I had Takuli, you know, for my draft pool, you know, for sleeper. And I love seeing both of his champions right now. So, you know, I love that we're getting potential casts and everything to do this. So, I don't know, who are you siding with early on based on draft here?
Yeah, I think I favor the Pograts a little bit. I like to see the Kindred Zillion compositions. I like to see them played. I like to hope that they're going to work on out. And I like the Zillion in general and the approach they're going for here with kind of, you know, 2 supportive champions to back on up these 3 carries. So enjoy the team composition, the way it's been brought together. It's really going to be up to the Pograts and if they're going to be able to execute on that one. And I know, you know, a lot of people in Twitch chat, a lot of people going to be very hoping that the Pograts are going to be able to pull this one out, that they're going to be able to navigate effectively, and that they're going to end up with some success here. We'll find out in just a few short moments. We're going to log on to the Rift and see how this game number 1 is going to transpire. We'll be back in just a couple of moments. Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast of the Aegis Defenders League, where the Pograts are taking on Ivy Gaming Crystal Song as both of these squads look for their first win here in the Aegis Defenders League and Week 6. Gordo and Gigatron back on the cast here. Check out as these two teams are both looking for a little bit of level 1 shenanigans on the bottom side. They haven't spotted each other quite yet. Bisharp Warrior is on the Blitzcrank, so Eye's going to be if he can find a target and make something happen here.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're hoping. Hopefully the flag would have revealed someone there in the brush, but actually alerts Pograts to be like, nope, we're not moving from our brush here. We're going to stay here, hope that they don't shift down, and that's going to be the case. They don't shift down, so good job by Pograts to not overcommit. But you still see a 4-stack here. Maybe? Oh, no. Alright, they baited me.
Yeah, no delayed invade to be found this time around. Instead, they are going to look to just start on up here on this red buff. Nice ward coming over, along with Lower Heaven, to give Laser that good start that he is hoping for on this Kindred. And, you know, the Kindred, we talked about it yesterday. Got to talk about it again today. The marks, you really want to get up to 4. That's really going to be your big breaking point for where you kind of become a real champion. You get 75 additional range. You really come online at that point, and prior to that, you're probably going to find yourself being substantially weaker than most other champions in the roster. So we're going to see how Laser's going to be able to navigate this early game, if he's going to be able to get those marks, when he's going to be able to get those marks. And that should be a big indicator for how the pace of this game is going to end up playing out for the Pograts.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, just trying to farm the souls as much as possible. I think, and a lot of it's just probably playing into this bot side. If you can just gate them enough, you'll get a kill either onto Mr. Da Vinci or Bisharp. And I think that's where you can at least start, on top of getting your Scuttle ones and, you know, all the other camps as they come through, and hopefully that will speed it up. But really just depends on how you're gonna have Ezio keep countering and everything like that.
Yeah, definitely. And the first coin flip of the game going to occur here in just about 20 seconds as we find out which of the crabs is going to have that first mark on it. Laser certainly hoping that it's going to be that top crab. That would be a pretty easy way for him to net his first mark. He is also pathing towards mid. See if he can get something happening with Delay here, who so far has been playing out this lane pretty safely. We'll see if he steps up a little bit to try to get a trade with Fire Ice Demon. That's what Laser's waiting for, but Delay has an option now to just walk out towards the bottom. And the 50-50 is lost by Laser here. It is the bottom crab. Ezio, already on top of it, is going to be able to secure this one.
Great job by Ezio, just kind of being like, you know what, hopefully it's going to be down here. I'm just going to take this, and then, you know, he's going to path mid and see if he can, or actually, he's going to path towards Toucans right now and steal away some camps from Kindred.
Yeah, man can flip heads with the best of them. Props to you, Ezio, for having that one come on out your direction. Looks like, once again, Laser trying to pay a visit towards mid lane, or at least wants to be able to get over and snag his birds. But Ezio has already claimed a couple of those, so is going to be ahead as a result. Now going to walk straight up into Laser, though. That's going to be the Mounting Dread thrown on top of him, gets fully procced. Ezio going to be forced to flash away as the threat of the zillion damage, a little bit too great there. Soxalay going to get a nice trade off the back of it. Electrocute proc as well, as Flash is blown for both junglers.
Yeah, the Flash is down, which is okay. Means then when they come gank, they will not be able to escape if there is that counter coming in. Whether it be, you know, the 3v3 or 4v3 potentially happening bot side. But I like this, though, because then you're seeing that the Zoe, again, having really good burst into Fire Ice Demon, makes him go back, forces out the TP here as well. So this is, again, really good for them, especially since you're not running TP on Zoe here.
Yeah, definitely. Delay keeping the pressure on in mid lane, is already up 2 whole waves there, 12 CS. That's pretty good for Delay. You know, Zillion loses a lot of these matchups pre-level 6 when he can't really farm easily by just clearing out the way with bombs, but Yeah, he's having a real tough time this time. His laser is getting collapsed on. Ezio leading the charge here. Mitochondria going to go on in, get the flash body slam to lock on down Laser. Here's the flag and the drag going to land on both targets. First blood gets picked up for Mitochondria, and now they can chase down onto Miro Rocks. He's going to be forced to flash away, and now fight breaking out in the bottom lane as well. Concussive blows land onto Mr. Da Vinci. Double flash comes on through as he tries to avoid the Winter's Bite from this brawl. Meanwhile, Bisharp going to land the hook on to lower heaven, trying to chase him down, but the slow from the Winter's Bite is just a little bit too much. Nice Ward picks up that kill. The 2v2 in the bottom lane goes the way of the Pograts as Ivy Gaming pick up first blood on the top side.
Yeah, Ivy kind of just played it well. You had the good roam down from Mitochondrian there, able to get that flash buy slam, which is so pivotal there. Oh, look at those trades there on the Fire Ice Demon. But again, you look at bot side there, and I guess just even though it felt like a bloodbath, you still kind of came out on top here for Pograts because you burned both sums on Da Vinci. You have both sums also down for Bisharp, since it is the Hex Flash that is put up there. Unfortunately, you have to trade back, and same thing, all your subs are gone on both sides. But this then means that, hey, Lower Heaven slightly more ahead right now, especially with Nice Work getting the kill. Hopefully, this will put them back into it that little bit since they are down about 20 CS.
Yeah, Bisharp waiting around here. Going to get found by Laser, and Nice Ward was already channeling the Hex Flash, so gets a nice little head start on his attempted escape. Stun doesn't land from the counter-strike, but it does from the concussive blows. Miro Rock's going to pick up that kill and bring the Pograts up to 2-1. Now, maybe the Dragon going to be the next target here. Ezio channeling the recall, knows that Bisharp is already dead.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we could see Dragon potentially coming. We're going to probably see Red, maybe a gank bot side, I'm thinking. Trying to get some souls if we're going to do a soul check. We're at 0 right now still. So, hopefully he could get a mark on one of the champions that is going to be, like I said, I would play through bot or I would play through jungle. I think is like your best ways of getting it. Because I feel like it's really hard to get on the Zoe. And as much as you probably could potentially kill Matt, it's not going to be worth it here.
Yeah, Miro Rocks, no flash available, already used the leap strike. He's going to go on down here. Mitochondrian picks up that kill, now up 2-0 on the Gragas. Does have the Lost Chapter, so at least going for that Everfrost, if not an entirely AP build. That's a hook landed in the bot lane, though, onto Nice Ward. Damage coming on through from the white gun on the side of Mr. Da Vinci. Throws on down that turret as well to try to bring out a little bit more damage, but the turnaround from Laser is here. Comes on in, picks up that first kill up, gets Bishop Warrior. Now looking to keep the trade going onto Mr. Da Vinci, who is level 6, but can't quite get the damage on through. Chrono Shift is thrown on a Laser, ends up not even being necessary, as that's going to be 2 kills for the Pograts in the bottom lane.
Pograts playing as well. You had Laser come in through the brush, able to, again, do a lot of damage there onto Bisharp, and yeah, it's just coming out really well. And again, because you still have subs down, it's just really hurting them, and you have Fire Ice Demon still support from the aspect of just saying like, hey, we'll give the Chrono Shift if needed, but like you said, just they're just playing this really well right now, and I'm hoping we see some more of this.
Yeah, Bishop Warrior's been killed 3 times here, so it's all about the bottom lane for the Pograts so far. Goes in for another hook, going to force the flash there out of Fire Ice Demon. Fire Ice Demon does get a fair amount of damage back, though, on the Soktale using those bombs. As there's another gank coming top for the side of Miro Rocks. Mitochondrian taking a whole bunch of damage here, though, and can't get out of the Cataclysm, but the damage is just enough to be able to finish off Miro Rocks in time. Gragas stays alive. Another kill going over to him and the side of Ivy, as they are just bullying onto Miro Rocks here.
Every time you keep saying Miro, I keep thinking of Miro from My Hero. And I'm wondering, why is he not phasing through, you know, the material and everything, so he can just do anything? But you know, it's fine. We do see first strike is going over to Pograts here, so we are going to see an Ocean X. What do you think Soul's going to be?
Well, you know, we got a 1 in 3 chance of being right here. I'm gonna hope for a Mountain. You know, it's a little bit more impactful here. Or Hextech. Hextech is fun too. Do love those Hex Gates. We're just hoping for not Cloud, pretty much. I'm in the Cloud hating camp. It's never one that I'm super excited about seeing. So the teams end up kind of prioritizing it a little bit less, and then, you know, it becomes just a Baron dance game all day long. It's now, instead the push in the bottom lane, Lower Heaven looking to get their first plate of the game here. Will be able to do so. Lasers coming in for the collapse on a Mr. Da Vinci. He sees it on a ward and backs on away as Bisharp Warrior is returning from the base. But this is going to be 2 plates going on over to the side of the Pograts. Hook not going to land.
Yeah, Hook a little short there, but I think it's just really good by Laser to not overcommit there and just go for that tower dive, especially with Bisharp coming back. But as much as I kind of wanted this Jax to pop off, I'm actually kind of scared for the Jax right now because he's been bullied twice now with those ganks. He is just getting so far, well, I wouldn't say so far, but a little bit more behind than I'd like at this point. And yeah, it's kind of demoralizing, especially when you're seeing this phase rush Gragas just coming out and doing so much right now, especially with those flippers.
Really curious to see how Scuba Gragas ends up itemizing from here on out, as you know, he can go into a little bit more of a tanky build from here. He doesn't have the tier yet, which makes me think he doesn't have Fimbulwinter on the brain. So maybe he is really just going for this full kind of bursty AP build and trusting that Ezio Mortem is going to be able to be, you know, that front line, that tank, and that he can instead just serve as another mage. Bisharp going in, trying to get a hook on Fire Ice Demon, but is just going to get turned around on. Laser and Ice Ward were waiting around here to set the trap, and they spring it there, picking up another kill. Once again, up against the Blitzcrank. Bisharp now 80% of his team's deaths. All of the deaths centered in that bottom lane as, you know, Pograts, they just keep finding their opportunities onto this Blitzcrank.
Yeah, and as much as the Blitzcrank is roaming, it's just not performing out the way that they would like for Ivy. And I'm hoping that maybe he gets a little bit more love by having Ezio come around, or you pull Da Vinci out of bot lane. I mean, I know this is kind of the meta of,
Ooh, Fire Ice Demon does not get to pop the chrono break there in time. Sock Delay coming in with the one shot, picks up the solo kill in mid lane there. That's a great start for the Zoe. Definitely what you want to start happening here. He even gets 2 stacks on the Dark Seal as well. So definitely going to make this champion just a little bit more dangerous coming into the mid game.
Yeah, and this is where I feel like Zoe kind of is starting to just pop off that a little bit more, just because we're seeing that burst. We have the Dark Seal out right now. We have so much coming from her. As, yeah, Miro, I don't know why you keep jumping in, and she's getting bursted so much. Oh.
Ooh, that's a nice hook. Landed on the Laser, going to force that Respite to come on through. Laser going to survive a big paddle start from Zoe as a result of that one, and they turn the play around onto Bisharp Warrior, who just cannot manage to stay alive this game. Laser going to take a bunch of damage from Sock Delay, but the Chrono Shift just popped a little bit early. Doesn't matter, though. Laser turns around the damage, goes on a rampage as he finishes off the kill onto Sock Delay. 2 kills for the Pograts here, keeping themselves competitive, keeping the gold close. Well, they're getting less and less gold from this Blitzcrank as they keep taking him on down.
I mean, you're losing the little bit of gold, but I think it's just more, hey, we're keeping him off. Oh.
Ooh, that's a good ultimate there, thrown by Mr. Da Vinci, going to get the double root on through, and a big shutdown. All the res ultimates are not available, and that means it's time for Aphelios to clean on up. Ivy Gaming gets 2 quick kills, both going onto their Aphelios to the bottom lane to get him back into the game. Now, a turnaround in the top lane. It looks like Vaticondraine going to be able to use that Everfrost to get himself out of dodge in time. First turret is claimed in the bottom lane for Lower Heaven, but the gold lead swinging back towards Ivy Gaming.
Yeah, swinging back that little bit more. You got some needed gold, especially onto Da Vinci here. And as much as, unfortunately, you have Fire Ice Demon fall to the turret, it would have been nice to have seen it go to Da Vinci, so he kind of gets more of that gold bounty, so that way, if something does happen to him, you know, it's going to benefit Pograts that a little bit more. But Drake has started here. Both are meeting up. Nothing's going to happen, it seems like. See.
Yeah, Soktele looking to get the Paddle Star damage, not finding it there. Mr. Da Vinci does have green-white guns. These are pretty good for a fight in this sort of scenario. You can see he's getting these procs onto Nice Ward, who is going to be forced to jump away. No more collapse coming on through, though. Sleepy Trouble Bubble does not land. They're forcing them into smaller and smaller locations, but they aren't quite able to land any CC. No Blitz Hook, no Sleepy Trouble Bubble, no Flag and Drag. Means that the Pograts are going to be able to just sneak on out of there, having claimed themselves the dragon.
Yeah, they're just able to get away fairly easy, and it's kind of unfortunate for Ivy because you would have hoped maybe they could have gotten a little bit more of a collapse. Maybe that Mitochondrian was able to TP a little bit sooner, so you could have had that explosive cask and a body slam, but the Everfrost there to do something. But just so short there, unfortunately for Soktele.
Yeah, coming close to making a turnaround happen. Mitochondrian getting collapsed on here. Somehow lands the body slam onto both. The hitbox on that is just ridiculous. As Ezio comes on in here, going to look to get the lockdown onto Laser, onto Miro Rocks. That's a flash hook there from Bishop Warrior. Is going to be able to net them the first kill of the fight. Rampage for Mitochondrian. Double kill for Mitochondrian as he moves on to Miro Rocks as well. Finally, a Sleepy Trouble Bubble lands, and that's going to be a lockdown onto Nice Ward. Turning that into a triple kill for Scuba Gragas. He's swimming in gold now, going up to 6-0 and taking down this top lane turret.
Yeah, I was gonna say, not only is he swimming in gold, he's swimming in kills, and is just doing so much with this. So again, this is where I've seen a lot more Gragases take this type of style instead of going for the grass, just because of the fact that, hey, you can set up pretty well with the cask, you can get an Everfrost going, like you said, a hitbox on Body Slam is very crazy. It's not, Nautilus Hook, but it's pretty good. So I'm liking that they are going to be taking this Rift Herald here fairly easy, no contest here from Pograts, and I'd like to see them potentially, I'm guessing to throw this bot at this point because of the fact that we already have mid turret down.
Yeah, and that body slam, I gotta go back to it. It's just crazy there. The physics of this just make no sense. The Kindred's behind him, the Jax is in front of him, and somehow Mitochondrian lands the body slam onto both. It makes absolutely no sense to me, but that ability is just so beefy and really buys him that additional extra time for Ezio to come on in and make the play happen.
Yeah, when you have a champion like Gragas who's built like Whippo, where he is just so wide and can hit two at once like that, you just gotta love seeing it. So, but yeah, I'm really excited to see more of the Gragas. I'm really excited for more plays coming out from Ivy now. As we see that everything's kind of swinging still back towards Ivy, even though they're down 2 Drakes, they're up 2 kills, 2 turrets to 1, and you have now both Rift Heralds going over to them.
Yeah, Mr. Da Vinci sliding on out of dodge there. The use of the Gale Force is going to protect himself and stay alive. You can see Ezio has been a part of a whole bunch of these kills here, but you can see it's just completely divided across the map, although I'm going to get interrupted here. Mitochondrian's getting engaged on Laser, going to flash over that explosive cast, get knocked closer into Mitochondrian, but he has no other backup, and there's 3 members of Ivy Gaming trying to collapse out of this. That's going to be the Cataclysm, landed onto 3, 2 flashes blown right away, but they leave Miro Rocks behind, who is going to end up falling on down there. Laser trying to stay alive with the Lamb's Respite, but is going to be forced to abandon it, as there's too many members of Ivy Gaming collapsing on through. Here's a big paddle star. Soktele not quite going to be able to land it, but does get the Sleepy Trouble Bubble there onto the Braum. Will they be able to finish him off through the Unbreakable? He is tanking through the damage pretty effectively, but that's a hook landed on the Fire Ice Demon. Chrono Shift no longer available, going to turn that one into another kill. Laser finally picks one back up against Soktele, despite having already been dead for a few seconds, but that's going to be a big 4-for-1 fight in favor of Ivy Gaming Crystal Song.
And I feel so bad for Laura Heaven. It's twice now. When you're trying to kill Ezio, it just doesn't happen. Like, you don't get the extra auto off, and the zap is just so short there. It's just so tilting for me, just to be like, oh no, how did I not get that with him being so low there? But again, Ivy just playing this very well, and this is where I was kind of hoping we would see more of the team popping off, just because of the fact that, hey, you already have Aphelios, just keeping that CS lead. Gragas doing so well right now, on top of having Jarvan just be that more of that supportive tank like you're talking about, being that front line needed for them, and is just getting all these good cataclysms too. So really good for Ivy. We see potentially another fight.
Ooh, Bishop maybe gonna look for the hook here, but yeah, you're totally right about Ezio though. This man's been the driver of so many of these plays. You know, he's got 12 out of 13 KP. The only one he hasn't been a part of was that solo kill by Sac Delay, and that's gonna be Sleepy Trouble Bubble here. Landed onto a key target, gonna get a bunch of damage on across. It's gonna be Ezio getting the fight started once again, locking down Lower Heaven, who is gonna fall on down there without Chrono Shift being able to use Fire Ice Demon just a little bit too far away. Miro Rock's trying to keep the fight going, is gonna get knocked back away, is gonna get taken down by Sac Delay. It's Nice Ward falling down as well. Laser got picked off in there somewhere or other as well. 4 kills once again for Ivy Gaming. Another dragon for Ivy Gaming, and they are keeping that ball rolling.
It has been a heavy Ivy right now, even though Sac Delay is taking double bombs right now for damage. But yeah, this is just going very much into their favor. Big swing of events. I'm looking at, like you said, we've had a couple 4-kill ones happening.
Oh, avert your eyes, everybody. Bishop Warrior goes in, tries to get the hook, hits it onto the minion just barely, and Fire Ice Demon is going to escape as, you know, you get a little mistake in there, but they're winning the game anyway. They're allowed to have a little bit of negative gaming here and there, as they're going to get 2 kills off the back of it anyway. One big pick by the Baron, another big pick by Sac Delay, 2 more members of the Pograts off the map, and the Baron in the pockets of Ivy Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, this is where they played us very well. They knew that they could get the Baron no problem. Even if you have Laser come up, it's more of the fact that we have 3 people that could zone you off and kill you right away, even if you use the Ram's Respite. And it's just not going to be needed at this point because she gets bursted way too quickly. And you're seeing Sac Delay again, just getting ahead more and more and more. 9 stacks now on the Magi's. Starting to get there, getting that ramp going, and I'd be really scared for Pograts right now just because of the fact that the Zoe keeps getting more and more ahead.
Yeah, definitely substantial lead for Sac Delay, substantial lead for Ezio, substantial lead for Mitochondrian, and you know, it's very difficult to answer even one of these guys, let alone multiple. There's not a huge amount of hard CC available in the composition of the Pograts, at least that doesn't require putting your members in substantial danger or, you know, having a little bit of setup. You gotta land 2 bombs for the Zillion. You gotta get all your stacks for the concussive blows. You know, you gotta throw your jacks in the middle of everyone to land Counter-Strike. And without being able to get that lockdown, when you're this far behind, it's very, very tough for Ivy Gaming to really be able to play out these fights.
Yeah, it really is. I think the big thing too is like they're trying to just get ahead where they can and kind of keep that momentum going. Like as you see, they're running that 4-1 right now onto the bot and middle right now, and I'm
yeah, big siege coming on through here for Ivy Gaming. They are going to get themselves that mid-inner turret, or mid-inhibitor turret rather. Mitochondrian still pathing in the bottom side, still keeping the push going, is going to claim himself the bot inner, as they're just running out of turrets here on the side of the Pograts. It's tough for them to start these fights. They don't have good, reliable engage here. In theory, they want to take these fights as Ivy Gaming is coming into them, but when Ivy Gaming is coming into them, Ivy Gaming is blowing them up here. They have such a strong lead, so much damage here on the roster. Laser takes a bunch of damage indirectly there from Sac Delay and Mr. Da Vinci, and is now going to be forced back into the Nexus, or into the Fountain, once again.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely forced back, but oh my god. Look at the damages.
Yeah, that's a lot. Oh, that's a big 3-man ultimate from the side of Mr. Da Vinci, and it's just the go button for everybody to start whacking that turret. They know that nobody can respond on the side of the Pograts. They melt through it so quickly there, going to get themselves that inhibitor, going to get the mid-inhibitor as well. Oh, going to one-shot Laser, and going to take themselves a little Hex Gate on their way out, but they decide they want to take the fight instead. Mitochondrian coming on in with the big Everfrost, locking down on 3 members. Sac Delay flashing in, wants to get the kills, wants to carry the fight, has already lost 1 kill to Mitochondrian, so it's not going to be the pentakill on the table, but it is going to be a clean fight win for Ivy Gaming. Crystal Song, they are going to move into the Nexus, and they are going to close on out the first game here in tonight's series, Tigatron.
Yeah, I mean, they get the really good Magi stacks now. 21 there for Zoe Sakdale, performing very well. Even though we did see a little bit of a mishap coming out from Bisharp there in the early part of the game of just kind of giving over those little bit of kills. He's now able to kind of help out his team, get some good picks, and this is just a whole different, a completely whole different game now. That I'm glad for Ivy. This was a big swing that they needed to have. They ride the momentum, and now this is game one going towards them.
You don't have to bring that up for Bisharp, man. He did it. He came, got some great hooks in that game over the course of it. Missed a couple as well, but nonetheless, Ivy Gaming end up coming out on top. They start off the game by going towards Mataconjure in the top lane, and they just keep visiting him over and over again and get that Gragas a substantial lead. And from that point on, he is both a major damage threat and a major frontliner for Ivy Gaming. Pograts just can't get through the fat man in the top lane, even while he's built an AP. And leads Ivy Gaming to a lot of victory there, along with Ezio not being able to deal with that Gragas Jarvan combo. Alpha Sean and Mr. Da Vinci coming in with the damage from the back line as they need to. Very clean game there from Ivy Gaming Crystal Song. They get their leads, they snowball them appropriately, and they come away with a nice win in game number one.
Yeah, it was a really good number one there. That I think, it took them a little bit longer, and as much as we were hoping the good old Pograts were going to come out with something, unfortunately, you have Kindred just kind of started getting way too behind in those soul stacks. I mean, I think we only saw three, and they were all from camps. They weren't even from champions. So I think that's where if you can't get that targeted champion, even if it's going to be a team fight like that, just sacrifice yourself to get those extra souls, and maybe you could scale that a little bit better. But unfortunately, just wasn't the case. And when you get the Jack's bullied a lot there, this fast game that it doesn't help out the team too, so that he can't pop off either. But I'm excited for this game too. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I am as well. Excited to see how we switch on up our draft approach for this game number two. Ivy Gaming Crystal Song clearly very comfortable with the approach they ended up taking, and very happy with how they ended up playing out a more standard team composition. Pograts going for the double marksman, going for the Zillion mid, doesn't end up working out. So maybe it'd be back to the drawing board for those guys. We are going to throw it to a break here while we get into draft for game number two, but don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with more of Pograts taking on Ivy Gaming Crystal Song.
Everybody, panic! Hold on. I'm about to say something really cool. 3, 41, 9, and lift off! No one dies screaming without me. I feel like I forgot to shoot something. You're starting to bore me. She's such a loser, always ready to cry. Da-da-da-da. Aw, come on. What's the worst that could happen?
Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast of the Aegis Defenders League, where we are getting right into picks and bans here for game number 2 between Ivy Gaming, Crystal Song, and Pograts. Pograts lost game number 1 pretty quickly, all things considered. Ivy Gaming, Crystal Song had a nice, clean game number 1. Now going to be Alpha Sean coming back in for Ivy in the mid lane here for this game number 2. So will be a little bit of a roster change for the winning side here. Now heading over on the blue side to take on the Pograts for the second time tonight.
Yeah, a big change of pace. I think we saw a little bit different champ pool coming out from Alpha Sean, as well as, you know, since they're taking the lead that a little bit more right now, it's great for, again, Ivy. I'm excited to see how this next one goes, because as much as we thought we had some interesting bans and comps coming out from both of them, I would like to see something potentially more different from Pog, maybe a different scaling comp that works more in their favor.
Yeah, they're going to drop the Zeri ban for the Jinx ban here. We'll see if Pograts want to ban that Zeri, or if they want to keep the Mordekaiser ban they had previously, or swap it to Anivia, is what they're showing here. They are going to indeed do the latter. So we'll see if that Zeri ends up getting locked on in for Ivy here on the B1. And there it goes.
Yeah, no surprise here. Zeri, just a very highly contested P1, as well as usually the Jinx. But Jinx, since she was banned out, good option to take Zeri. And yeah, I'm really interested in seeing how Ivy plays it, especially into Samira hover. Oh, actually, no, it's a Samira lock-in. Jeez.
Yeah. All right, Samira Rakan going to be a lock-on in here for the side of the Pograts. So they're looking to take an aggressive snowball-y lane up against the Zeri. Want to punish that relatively weaker early game, and are pretty well equipped to do so, at least to start things on off. We'll see what support they take for Ivy here. Is going to be the Leona. That just gets insta-locked. So they're willing to fight it out a little bit here. They're going to bring some CC to the table and try to brawl it out with Samira and Rakan. Leona also pretty good up against that Rakan, makes it kind of tough for him to engage, and, you know, can threaten to stun him on up when he does go in for that grand entrance.
Exactly, and that's where, because Solar Flare, as well as the Zenith Blade being a good lockdown, following up with Jarvan's Flag and Drag, you do have a Lee Sin who could go in and, you know, just kick people out, and hopefully you can put them into the rest of the team, get that extra damage going, and maybe stop the potential cataclysm coming out from Jarvan.
Maybe he can here. That Lee Sin locked on in, going to be looking to face off against Ivy's Jarvan. We saw Ezio had a fantastic Jarvan game in game number 1 here. He's going to be happy to be back on that one, although up against a different opponent this time around. Completely different look for Pograts thus far, at least with their first 3 picks, as they look to take out that Gragas that was so useful for Mitochondria in last game. They take out the Ahri as well, away from Alpha Sean. The Zilean going to be banned here from the side of Ivy, so they certainly are not wanting to see that one back from Pograts, even though it didn't do too much in game number 1. They still don't want to see it again.
No. They look at that. They don't want to see it. I mean, not that Zilean's a bad one to throw the ban on. It's just, hey, you know what? We've seen it. Let's see something else. Let's not worry about someone trying to reanimate someone back as well too with the Crow Shift. So, Yone is an interesting pick though.
Yeah, that's gonna get locked on in there, probably for Fire Ice Demon, you gotta believe. I don't think he's played that one quite yet. And Merit Rocks does actually favor the kind of top lane carries a little bit more. He's played some Riven, some Fiora, some Camille, and then the Jax last game, so has pretty much exclusively gone for those hard carry top laners. Not unthinkable that this could be his Yone. The Vladimir going to be locked on in here for the side of Ivy. That one's presumably for Alpha Sean. Would be fine up against the Yone, and now we'll see what they want to take for top lane, knowing that this Yone could get flexed to either solo lane.
It could. Oh, and they're up for the team. I hate that. Mordekaiser gets picked up, though. Yeah, I don't know who I'd rather take it into, personally, with the Vlad or the Mordekaiser. I feel like Vlad, just because I'm not going to lose a bunch of stats in the Mordekaiser then.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, the Mordekaiser, definitely an interesting pick here. Got banned away by the side of the Pograts in game number 1. This time makes it all the way through both phases of bans to get locked on in by Ivy here. That's a Heimerdinger that's just been locked on in here. Maybe to face off against Mordekaiser, maybe to face off against Vladimir. Really hard to tell here, as you know, both of these champions could really be flexed around here.
It could be. I feel like we're probably getting a Heimer top, only just because Heimer top's just, like, real nice Gouda cheese that you're hoping you get that lead in there because you're throwing out as many turrets as possible, just trying to get through waves, keep them pushed in, make them regret potentially ganking. So that's where I feel like it's a better lane for the Heimer than the mid, just because you have two different gank paths you have to worry about, where it's only one real big gank path coming out from the river. So I think this could really help out Heimer in that case if it's topside, but we'll see how they play it out.
Yeah, I haven't seen this champion in a long time, not in a hot minute.
Yeah.
So very interesting to see. You know, I don't think I've seen him since Arcane came out, so I guess we'll get to see if he gets the Arcane buffs the way that, you know, Jinx and Victor and Jace all have, where, you know, they show up in the show and now they're all of a sudden the best champions in the game. Don't know if that's quite happened with Heimerdinger yet, but, you know, not going to count it out until I get to see it. Now that we're in the in-game draft, the in-client draft, Miro is the one who's locked on into Yone, so I think he's going to be playing Yone top lane, and it is going to be Fire Ice Demon playing the Heimerdinger in the mid lane for the Pograts.
That's going to be interesting. I love and hate that at the same time, because I would like to see the Heimer top, but I understand it. It's still, again, you're trying to take, you know, whatever lane is going to be the best for you. Hopefully, just try to control and help out your lane, or say your lane mates, and see if you could get more of those dragons, more of the help bot side get some concussive grenades going out, or just has the immense amount of rockets coming out from his upgrade, you know, with his ultimate there. So I'd love to really see that.
Yeah, the Ivy roster has gone for, you know, they've got a fair bit of engage. They've also got, you know, a fair bit of ability to kite on back. You know, when the side of the Pograts start diving into them, Mordekaiser can take one key target out of the fight. They can kite back with their Zeri and their Vladimir, and they've got Jarvan and Leona to run interference. Pograts' entire comp really just is built to go in, and, you know, really dive super hard, except for Heimerdinger, who's the opposite of that generally, but nonetheless has been paired up with these 4 all-in champions. So it's going to be interesting for me to see how this ends up playing on out. Maybe this is just a little bit more of a lane-focused pick. Maybe Heimerdinger is the anti-Vladimir tech that everyone's been waiting for. I guess we'll have to wait and see how this ends up playing out and how they can work this Heimerdinger into their team fights.
Yeah, I think they can. I think it's really based on the grenades. If you get those bouncing grenades onto them, then it stops, like, the Zeri from potentially ramping more, potentially stops the Jarvan or the Lina trying to go in. We already assume we're in Shadow Realm with Mordekaiser when it comes to team fights, but yeah, I'm hoping this way then it bounces enough, gets someone locked down, so then, or at least that blind going for them, so then that way you have Samira or Yon pop off from that.
Yeah, that's definitely a game plan here. You know, they can snowball through a lot of these different lanes. You know, if Samira gets ahead, if Yone gets ahead, these are champions that really can run away with the whole game, and it doesn't really matter what your teammates are doing. Lee Sin also going to be there to enable these guys. He's really strong in the early game, brings a whole lot of damage and a whole lot of interesting gank paths. So maybe that's just the game plan here, and Heimerdinger's just here to hold down the fort, keep the Vladimir pushed on in, and enable the others. But Ivy Gaming here, they've got a little bit of a clearer path. They scale so powerfully here. They've got this Vladimir who's going to be unstoppable in the later game. Zeri has shown that she can do a lot more of the same in what we've seen of her in competitive so far. Just is really difficult to get on top of and to deal with in the later game. So a nice scaling setup here from Ivy Gaming makes me favor their team composition just a little bit more.
Yeah, I would agree with that a little bit. Again, I look at more. You have really good bursts. You have consistent damage. You have still a good amount of mixed damage coming out from them again too. Where this time around on Pograts, you do see a little bit more mix as well between a Yone and the Samira and the Heimerdinger, followed by Lee Sin. But yeah, I really wonder how much the let's press the go button really helps out Pograts this time.
Yeah, absolutely here. We're going to throw it to a quick break now while we get loaded up onto the Rift for game number 2. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back as IV Gaming looks to close this series out in 2, as Pograts looks to pull us to game number 3. Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast of the Aegis Defenders League, where IV Gaming Crystal Song are taking on Pograts for the second time tonight, looking to get themselves their first win here in the ADL. Would be secured with one more win here. Side of the Pograts, if they want to get their first win, they got to win 2 in a row here, taking us to game 3 after this one. And this Heimerdinger, maybe he's going to get them there. This is the Beamerdinger? I don't know where they put the B pun in this skin's name, but brand new, fresh off the presses, gonna be joining us in this game number 2.
I think they call it Bee Stinger. I could be wrong on that. I thought it was.
Oh, is it Heimer Stinger? I think you're right. I think that was a clever one, and I got to give it to him on that one. The only one I don't like is Nunu and B Lump. That just feels lazy to me.
Yeah, that was the weird one. I ain't gonna lie. Like, it could have been better, right? But you know what? It's fine. It is the Heimer Stinger. Heimer Stinger is what it's called.
It's smaller than the diagram.
I feel like Bee Stinger would have worked too. But anyways, yeah, this is still gonna be interesting seeing how this works in that mid lane, especially in the Alpha Shans. Vlad, who again transfusions that pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean he's just spamming Qs on those turrets, looking to keep them down, looking to keep himself from getting pushed on in. But The turrets are coming up faster than the blood is, and so he's not really going to be able to prevent that wave from just continuously getting shoved on into him, at least for the early game. Later on, to get some points in the E, once he has some points across the board, he'll be able to be a little bit more effective in clearing out these waves and matching that Heimerdinger push. But up until then, he's definitely going to be spending a lot of time underneath his turret. Should give Laser, a little bit more free reign around the map, a little bit more time to make plays, unless Ezio can come and spin around where that mid lane is hanging out. Also very curious to watch Mitochondrian on this Mordekaiser. Been banned out against him a couple of times here, and now is going to be making its appearance on the Rift, facing off against Miro Rox's Yone.
Yeah, this is where I'm really excited to see how this goes, just because of the fact that even though you can get some good isolated hits from the bonk, it's not always enough, especially into Yone, just because you get that extra shield. You're basically Yasuo's brother, where you're just a BS kind of champion if you really think about it. Just to get a lot of crit, do a lot of damage, and it just really snowballs him so much. But I would like to see the Mordekaiser win this.
We'll see what he's able to get done. So far, getting bullied a little bit, but is only 3 levels in 3 minutes into the game. These bot laners just trading early on. So far, not too much aggression going in on to this Zeri. We'll see how she's able to navigate that early game, too, from an unfavorable position. Does feel like on paper, there's some winning lanes across the board here for the side of the Pograts. It's coming into the later game that we have some questions about this composition, but for right now, they got a little advantage. Alpha Sean going to be forced to flash there in the mid lane. Fire Ice Demon taking the fight to him, going to get that summoner off of the Vladimir, and now that might be an opportunity for Laser to make something happen in the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, I think this could definitely go very well for them, just because of the fact that, look at that, you're gonna...
Ooh, the grenade lands.
Take way too much damage coming out there. He's just throwing out so much from the Heimerdinger there, and yeah, it's just such, like, it's so weird to see it work well into a Vlad too, just because of the fact that you think, okay, it's Vlad. He's someone that's just going to transfusion everything, just use his blood powers just to try and get more damage out there, and it's just not going in his favor early. So, like I said, this is a scaling comp, so I'm hoping that later on he does get to do something more with that Hemoplague.
Yeah, definitely here, as the waves keeping shoved in the mid and bottom lanes, and the recall completed for Mitochondrian in the top lane. At least on paper, these CS leads are coming on up for the members of the Pograts. Has been Mr. Da Vinci picking up a little bit of a CS lead for himself in the bottom lane, using that burst fire, using that range, making sure that he is going to be able to scoop up every little bit of farm, even while he is being shoved on in. No, neither jungler finding any opportunities as of yet. Both of these guys have a lot of gank paths available to them, have a lot of early game pressure, but not finding a way to transpire it into any advantages as of quite yet. So this is going to be a big trade in the top lane. Mitochondrian keeping his passive going, but takes a little bit more than he expected to. Miro going to be able to find the first blood there, flashes in to follow, is going to pick up the solo kill in the top lane here for the side of the Pograts.
Yeah, I think they were hoping, he was hoping that Miro was going to try to go in behind him so he could get that extra bonk, but not going to be the case, as we see 3v3 here in bot side.
Yeah, it's going to be an attempted engage there. Not quite going to catch on to Bishop Warrior. He's going to be forced to flash away. Good play by Nice Ward there to force that one on out. Both junglers in the bottom lane here, neither going to find themselves any kill opportunities, but going to nullify each other's attempts to get their bot lanes ahead. All right. Follow-up gank by Ezio, looking to get that knock-up. That's going to be the Zenith Blade landing right into the knock-up. Lower Heaven goes so low and goes all the way down. Laser going to be able to turn that into a 1-for-1 as he picks up that kill on a Bishop Warrior. Will they be able to keep chasing? Will they be able to get a lockdown? Looks like the answer is going to be no. Without that Leona, they can't keep chasing. They can't keep it going, so it is going to be a 1-for-1. Leona ends up picking up that kill, while Laser gets it for the side of the Pograts.
Yeah, Laser gets that slightly ahead with the kill compared to the assist coming out from Ezio, but yeah, this is just unfortunate that it's going over to Leona instead of potentially Da Vinci there. And yeah, I'm excited to see more of what kind of happens with these ganks just because we see Bishop is already, again, up here in the mid lane.
Yeah, looking to get out active early on, was doing the same on Blitzcrank in game number 1. That's going to be the ultimate thrown on down for Mitochondrian. He wants to take it to Miro Rocks here in the Death Realm using those stolen away skills, and oh, a great timing there on the Obliterate. Gets the kill for Mitochondrian. He solo kills Miro Rocks right back.
Yeah, Obliterate just doing so much there. Again, this is where, like, when you get that nice isolated solo damage on the people, you just bonk so hard, way too much, that people just don't realize how good it is with that. And like I kind of predicted more before with the game, it's just really not beneficial to Miro Rocks by having that. Well, we see grenades stop Alpha Sean there from taking his recall, but yeah, it's just, I feel like, really demoralizing because, again, you want to fight as Young, but you can't because if you do, you're just losing so many stats. Mordekaiser.
Yeah, definitely a tough situation to be in there. Couldn't buy enough time during the Death Realm. And great timing there, great knowledge of when he was going to snap back there for Mitochondrian. Perfectly lines up the Obliterate. And yeah, that ability, very aptly named, just completely demolishes Miro Rocks' health bar. Alpha Sean remains shoved in the mid lane, but is doing a good job of just picking up CS wherever he can get it. He's taking a lot of damage there, though. Gonna get forced into the pool. We'll have the Empowered Transfusion soon, but is definitely struggling a little bit health bar-wise up against this Heimerdinger. Might call for some assistance soon, as that's going to be the top laners duking it out yet again. Mitochondrian gets a nice little trade there.
Yeah, it has a really good trade, getting traded back again.
Yeah, keeping it going there with the Soul Unbound. Ends up taking some damage, but a little bit less than he would otherwise. So that's going to be Bishop Warrior going in for the engage. Mr. Da Vinci pops the ultimate, but it's going to get returned on by Lower Heaven using that Inferno trigger to try to turn this back around up against Bishop Warrior. Just one or two more autos should be able to do it. He just pick it on up. That's going to be the Solar Flare coming out just a little bit too late. And that's going to be a kill in the bottom lane for the Pograts as they get Lower Heaven is first.
Yeah, Lower Heaven now with one, gonna get ganked by Ezio right now.
Yeah, no summoners available here. That's going to be the pop of the ultimate from Nice Ward to try to keep him locked on down, but the ultimate comes on through, but the damage is so big, he flashes away. Minion autos going to solidify it. Nice Ward gets that kill, and Ezio tries to pick up onto Lower Heaven, but it just all goes wrong there. Da Vinci now maybe greeting for it, but he could lose his life to Laser here if he's not careful. That's going to be the Ward hop, the flash, the kill. Laser gets a third one on the board from this extended play in the bottom lane, and the Pograts have the lead.
Some might say this is going to be a very Pog game coming out from the Pograts, and yeah, just they're scaling very well. They're getting kills on the Laser early on, becoming the Brave boss that Lee Sin usually is. You have, again, Nice Ward getting some good plays, even though they're getting engaged on a lot from Bisharp. They're able to still counter back and do a lot of damage here. And we see that this Hextech Drake is going to go over to Pograts here. So, I'm really excited. This is a whole different team this game too right now.
Yeah, the hats are working, Twitch chat. You just gotta hope that they keep working as, you know, the scaling team comp from Ivy Gaming is gonna get so strong later on. The Pograts have to keep their lead going, and they're doing just that as they get the lockdown onto Ezio, and they take him off the map once again. Laser going on a killing spree here, 3-0 now on the Lee Sin, and maybe gonna find himself another one in the form of Mr. Da Vinci. He doesn't have the ultimate, though, so not going to be able to chase any farther. Da Vinci going to jump over that wall and will be able to escape.
Gets this escape essentially with there, but again, this is just where they're able to still use the rift, get the turret, just try and create more pressure across this map. And hey, now that Heimer could get out of lane, Heimer could go gank or just solo put himself into this bot side and be a little more of a menace. But Yon,
yeah, going all in here up against Mitochondrian. He's a little bit beefier now, though. He's got the shielding. He's going to stay alive just fine there. Has the Leeching Leer to try to regenerate a little bit back over time as well. Mr. Da Vinci, you've been able to see in the last couple of plays, he's getting a little bit stronger here on the Zoe. Still hasn't completed his Trinity Force, but has got to be pretty close to that. In fact, maybe has the gold now. And that's going to be a big power point here for the Zeri, giving you that additional movement speed, giving you that additional damage. As, ooh, Bishop almost gets caught on out there by Nice Ward, but will complete the recall in time, as Fire Ice Demon has been rotated to the top lane.
Yeah, Fire Ice Demon being up here, I think is still good. Again, this is where really keeping those turrets up, prevent those ganks that Ezio would love to do. And then now it sets up for Laser to come up here.
Yeah, Laser shows on up, just dissuades Ezio from going for any shenanigans, and is happy with how things are going elsewhere on the map here. Bishop Warrior is up in the top lane. That means that Mr. Da Vinci is going to be 1 versus 2 trying to defend his turret. He's got to just avoid it entirely, and is instead just messing around with the Krugs. Fire Ice Demon avoids the Solar Flare entirely. Bishop Warrior finally gets a pathway in, but that's going to get responded to by a flash, and this whole while, plates are going down in the bottom lane to the side of Pograts. They are winning out.
Yeah, they're definitely winning out. I mean, this is such a crazy game going for them right now because of the fact that, Fire Ice.
Looking for a little bit of Cataclysm, not going to find it. They're just wasting their time here. Not going to be able to make any plays happen. Miro Rocks is coming back on up from his time in the mid lane. Waves are dying. Turret plates are being taken. And the gold lead is growing here for the Pograts as Ivy Gaming Crystal Song just can't find an opportunity to do anything.
No, again, this is a big change of pace compared to that game 1 that we saw here with Pograts. So they're realizing, hey, this is what we kind of need to do. We need to take on a team that can, again, get some good ganks going, get some pressure across the map, be able to kind of handle everyone on their own. And yeah, this is just going very well for them. Unfortunately, as much as Ezio has tried to get his team going that little bit more, it's just, you know, the 50% KP is just okay. I mean, it's only 2 kills. Hopefully you get a little bit more here. I know it feels more of a LPL game, LCK game, LPL, right? Where it's just very slow in the beginning.
Yeah, and it's really kind of the way that Ivy Gaming wants it to be slow. They definitely don't want to be behind 5k gold, you know. It's while the kill count is low, the gold lead is huge for the Pograts. They've gotten themselves 2 kills, or 2 turrets rather. They've gotten themselves the Rift Herald to get even more turret plates, and they've ballooned this lead substantially. They are really, really far ahead. They just haven't been able to convert it into kills so far. And while the side of Ivy Gaming kind of wants to play it out a little bit more safely, as that's going to be an attempted all-in for Vaticonjugate, he just gets turned around on by the big turret. Not familiar with the damage thresholds that Heimerdinger brings to the table. Not prepared for the level 2 upgrade, and an easy solo kill comes across for Fire Ice Demon.
Yeah, I think you have to realize just that the turrets do come with into the Shadow Realm where you think they really wouldn't, but again, if you take that away, then it kind of really messes with the kit.
Big lockdown onto Laser here. Going to be very close to going on down. Staying alive just barely, but will eventually fall down to the Ignite. Alpha Sean has not thrown down the ultimate quite yet, as that's going to be a dive on in from lower heaven. He goes for the Inferno trigger. He picks up onto Alpha Sean, and that's going to be a 1-for-1 so far. Make that a 2-for-1 as Miro Rocks teleports on in and is able to pick himself up another kill. Now going to blink on back. He's going to be so strong here. 3 kills now to his table. That's going to be another one picked up for Da Vinci as he finishes off on a nice ward. Now looking to keep it going onto lower heaven. This is Zeri Gaming. Gigatron Mitochondrian is over on the other side. Double kill goes on over to Mr. Da Vinci. Teleport completed for Fire Ice Demon, but as long as they don't fight into the turrets, they should be just fine here, as the play is a little bit saved there by Mr. Da Vinci on the Zeri, making it happen. Gets into the back line, gets down both bot laners from the Pograts.
Yeah, I mean, this is where Pograts are just kind of coming out of nowhere with this one. I really hope that everything kind of goes swings back into either side's favor. I look at it, unfortunately, we do see that second drink is going to be going towards Ivy Gaming right now, but hey, you know what? It's just 1-to-1. We are going to get a Mountain Soul. So we get Mountain Soul this game. It's the last one, so hey, I'll take it.
Certainly here. And that's a big objective bounty earned off that dragon as well. You know, they're far enough behind that those have turned on here, and that's another point to play around for Ivy Gaming. Every turret's still up. There's still going to be plenty of opportunities for them to scoop gold back into their pockets if they are able, you know, to find little fights that they can win, little points of power on the map, or opportunities to trade. That's what they're going to want to go for here, to be able to get more items and to be able to get their team online.
Exactly. As long as they can get that to happen, then we'll see more changes coming in. But I it's gonna be a little bit. I mean, you look at Alpha Sean is only just at 11. Zeri's only at level 9. I think if they can get a little bit more levels pumped into them, a couple items, we'll see a whole different game here. But we look at it, no stacks of the Dark Seal here for Vlad. As much as it's a really good item that works with him, he really needs to get more scaling into these team fights. So as long as he can get some good team fights going soon for himself, then it'll work out. But otherwise, it's just a kind of nice item for the refillable.
Yeah, hoping to get themselves onto those 2 item spikes, certainly, on the Zeri and on the Vladimir. And have bought themselves some solid time to be able to do so. You know, they were able to pick up that second dragon. That's going to slow the soul stacking by a pretty big amount. Baron, not really on the table, you got to think here, for this Pograts squad. They don't do it especially quickly. I mean, they do have the turrets from the Heimerdinger to help on out, but, you know, other than that, not too much to be massively worried about. It's really going to be about not getting picked on off, not letting this gold lead balloon even farther here for the Pograts, and not giving up stuff where they don't have to. Speaking of giving up stuff where they don't have to, though, Bishop, got to be very careful, is going to avoid the Sonic Wave and back on off.
Yeah, I mean, this is... I really... I want to see more out of this Yone matchup. I don't know why. Just because I feel like, again, it's a losing matchup for him, and the fact that, again, you're going into Mordekaiser who can do so much. I feel like this is like kind of like the very like underdog story of like, oh, I've been just demoralized to 10 deaths, or you know, being behind for so long, and then you hit that power spike with him and he does so much. But Laser.
Yeah, Laser trying to force a play here onto Alpha Sean. He will go into the pool and stay alive. Also pops the Hemo Plague, regens a little bit of HP, but that is going to be the bot lane inner turret going over to this Rift Herald, keeping that gold lead in the favor of the Pograts here. Alpha Sean will be able to stop the Herald's advance before it can charge again, but that's a lot of gold held in those inner turrets, and a 3-man squad pushing for the mid inner as well. Nobody's answering this from the side of Ivy. They've got 3 members in the top side jungle, and that just opens up the window for these inner turrets to just get demolished here by the Pograts.
Yeah, Pograts just doing, again, really good macro of trying to get those turrets down as much as possible. They get bot side going. Oh, Cataclysm.
Alright. Flag Drag Cataclysm is going to force the flash there out of Fire Ice Demon, but certainly not going to be worthwhile of losing your 2 inner turrets if you can't force anything back here, and it doesn't look like the side of Ivy can.
No, and this is where you would think maybe, oh, this top side would maybe finally go over to Mitochondrion, but it's just taking way too long. You haven't Mara Rocks here just is surviving for so long now because of the shield blow and just that crit damage that's coming out from him. And yeah, you have to look at that. Pograts are just playing this well. They got the Rift Herald bot. They able to rotate mid freely, and yeah, if they keep doing this, it could be a game going over to Pograts.
Yeah, that would take us to Game 3 tonight. Would mean we get to see these 2 teams take at it yet again. We'll have to see if it ends up getting there. Certainly Ivy would rather close this out in 2 and call it a quick night, but has been struggling so far here. The next dragon going to spawn up in about 20 seconds. Some members of Ivy are coming to group on up here. They'd like to steal this one away and get themselves the objective bounty, but they are so far behind in gold, you've got to believe they just have no chance in this fight, yet they're grouping up to try to take it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you know what? Doesn't matter to them. We don't care if we're behind. They're looking at a team that says, hey, you know what? If we can get a good solar flare, put someone into the Shadow Realm, and can Okay, kill the Heimer. I mean, this is the big thing. I really think it's just kill Fire Ice Demon and Laser. Those are your big two right now. Obviously, Lower Heaven can pretty much pop off at any point with the Inferno trigger, but still, be interesting to see. Both sides are trying to fight for this Drake here.
Yeah, Solar Flare not really going to land on anybody. Mr. Da Vinci is getting locked on down. That is going to be the objective bounty claim for Ezio, though. He steals away the dragon, but two members are already down. Actually, make that one. It's only Bisharp, but now Mitochondrian, Ezio, and Da Vinci all going to join them. This is a clean sweep by the Pograts. They lose the dragon, but they dominate the team fight 5-0, and they're going to turn this one into a Baron.
I think this is a good swing back for that. Looking at that, hey, you were thinking maybe it's only just going to be going over to Drake, going over to Ivy here, no problem. And yeah, they just were able to capitalize on basically a fight by ace here. And yeah, it's really crazy that they are able to do such, especially with this comp. And again, like, talk about free Baron, no problem here.
Yeah, and now that's an 11k gold lead almost. We'll call it 10k to the side of the Pograts. Huge at 23 minutes. And you can see in that last fight, it's just so difficult for them to lose. They can just smack them around with their wallets at this point. Mr. Da Vinci, the closest thing to a threat they really have on the side of Ivy, but even he gets blown up so quickly when that Yone is able to find his way on top of him.
Yeah, and that's the thing of Yone just needs to survive lane, and then he could do so much in team fights. Where, again, even if you have Alpha Shaw and Pool and Mitochondrian pulling someone into the Shadow Realm, he again is just able to do so much into the Zeri, into Bisharp, into Ezio, where Ezio goes in, cool, I'll go out.
Yeah, going for the lockdown on Amira Rocks here. He's going to dive back on over, is in the Soul Unbound, should end up falling on down here. Big shutdown for Alpha Sean. You got to put 600 gold into the pocket of that Vladimir. He desperately wants to get more items done. That's a huge play there for the side of Ivy Gaming.
Edgy, really good job. Again, you had a really good 2v1. You're able to not worry about Fate Sealed hitting you either. And yeah, just it's a really good play by them, trying to see if they get more picks. But unfortunately, you're going to see that 4 of them are going to be pushing very hard here for this top turret.
Definitely here. We'll see if they want to try to force this fight 5v4. They're still so far behind, but this is going to be one of the better chances that they have. Teleport in from Alpha Sean. They want to take the fight here. They want to look for the big solar flare. That's going to be to engage in. That's going to be the solar flare landing onto the Rakan. They're trying to dive onto lower heaven. Fire Ice Demon is fighting off the rest of the 4 members. They're going to finish him off right away, steal a bunch of stats, but that's going to be a big Inferno trigger coming through from lower heaven to turn this fight all the way back around. That's going to be 3 kills picked on up immediately. And Mr. Da Vinci is going to be the next one to fall on down. He's trying to kite it out, but he's going to end up giving over a quadra kill to lower heaven. That's a big fight for the Pograts, and that might just end the game here, Gigatron.
Yeah, I definitely would say so. These hats have been helping out Pograts so much. I think it's just crazy to see, just because of the fact that you're getting all these jumps coming out from Nice Ward and Lower Heaven there. And yeah, Lower Heaven's been playing perfectly well in the Samir. I'm thinking this is going to be a ban-worthy thing this next time around for Ivy if we go to this game 3, as we do see that they break the base and get the inhibitor here, but I'm taking a second to recall and just take some camps.
All right, taking a little bit longer to close it on out here. Want to make sure they play it safe. Want to make sure they don't give over a lot of fat shutdowns over to the side of Ivy Gaming, but building their lead bigger and bigger. 12k up now. Absolutely nuts of a gold lead here to have at 26 minutes, and super close to being able to end this game entirely. They lose Fire Ice Demon in that last fight, but other than that, they just completely slam it there for the side of Ivy. Or for the side of Pograts, rather.
Yeah, I mean, they do. And we do see the Scuttles get picked up here by Pograts, so they will have vision for this Drake coming up, as well as it plays fairly well from both sides here around the area. I think they're just gonna go in on them right now, though. They really just should just see if they pick out Ezio or Da Vinci there in that case.
Yeah, it's so easy to just press the go button on the Rakan or on the Yone at this point and get that fight started. Soul Unbound going to be used there. Mirarox jumps back, not going to find the opportunity to use that last breath. Not going, or the Fate Sealed, rather. That's his brother's ultimate, his last breath. Not going to be the engage coming through from Laser, not going to be the engage coming through from Nice Ward. Instead, they're going to back off, they're going to get themselves the Dragon, and they are going to wait still for finding that perfect opportunity.
Yeah, 2-2 on Drakes now. Really good by them. Finally, going to see this Bonnie Gold go over to Ivy here as they take out this top side. I'm sure Mordekaiser's finally happy that, hey, I can get my turret taken care of. But because of that, now 3 are going to be pushing mid.
Yeah,
the turret.
Solo laners still recalling here from the side of Ivy. So only 3 members left to defend this mid lane. Now, finally, they've regrouped here. See what they're able to find. It is going to be Fire Ice Demon just continuing to push in this bottom lane, keeping the pressure on, threatening to take the last inhibitor turret that the side of Ivy has left standing. And they're really struggling to be able to defend it, even against just this Heimerdinger, especially when the threat of this engage is always lurking. You can see Rakan lurking right here in this little pathway between the jungle and the base, knowing that at any time he could dive over, he could pop the quickness, and he can get this fight started that'll close out the game for the Pograts.
Exactly. Hey, you want to get over a wall and can do something here. Again, yeah, they're definitely able to. I think a lot of this is just reliant on Fire Ice just to get some really good grenades going off onto the enemy team here and see if he can get that extra damage between Comet and the turrets. So,
Miro taking a fair bit of damage there from the Zeri over the wall, but just shrugs it off. So they're looking to keep this siege going. The Baron has respawned. That's the next target for the Pograts here. They want to have access to that purple buff. Fire Ice Demon is going to keep the pressure out of the bottom lane. He sees 4 members here stopping him from pushing. That means that they are so safe doing this Baron. They don't even have to think about it. They're going to melt that one down pretty quickly here, and they're going to feel just fine. That's going to be a potential engage from Alpha Sean. He's looking to force up against Fire Ice Demon here. Bishop Warrior doesn't land the Zenith Blade. Baron goes on down, and nobody's been able to stop Fire Ice Demon either. He's just hanging out in this bottom lane, buffing up his minions, throwing down his turrets, and Alpha Sean and Bishop can't do anything about it, but they're going to try. Solar Flare comes on down. He goes into the stasis, trusting his turrets to be able to back him on up. Mitochondrian is coming on through as well to try to lock these guys down. Ezio's arrived just a little bit too late. That's going to be the kill coming on through for Alpha Sean. It's a 5v4 on the map, but the Baron buff is available for the Pograts, who are starting their siege in the mid lane. Lockdown coming on through on a Mitochondrian. Fate Sealed goes farther to the back line. He loses half his HP, though, and is going to be forced to back away. They get the mid inhibitor, but they lose their mid laner, and now feel forced to back away once again.
yeah, unfortunately, when you lose your mid, you're just like, you know what, let's just get out of here. Let's not worry about overcommitting. I think this is really good by Pograts that they have the mental of realizing that, and the problem is they need to close out the game. I mean, you're ahead so much right now. You're over 11k in gold. You're up, 16 or 18 math, 12 kills. I can't math today for whatever reason. And you have so many turrets on your side too for them that it's just kind of like, why aren't we seeing something be a little bit more different coming out from Pograts?
Yeah, for sure here, as they just want to be 100% sure that they're going to be able to close out this game before they take, some kind of risky fight that might end up giving an opening back for IV Gaming. They're up 11k here, but, the gold lead matters less and less as we get later and later into the game, and if you end up giving some key item thresholds over to somebody like Alpha Sean, could make actually closing out this game a lot more difficult. Alpha Sean going to be forced to use the Hemo Plague there. That's a big cooldown now for the Pograts to play around with if they can find a time to get the fight started.
Exactly. I mean, you have Drake going to be coming up here in less than a minute. So if they are going to fight over this here, Hemo Plague will not be up in time. And it's really going to hurt them, I think. And if they can potentially just drag out the fight that a little bit longer, then sure, everything could go into their favor. But if you look at it right now, they're not even playing towards it. You have Ezio and Da Vinci up here on the top side.
Yeah, you absolutely do here. So should be an opportunity for the Pograts to force their opponent's hands, but they're just waiting out. They're playing it a little bit on the safe side, to say the least. Really not wanting to enter the opposing base unless it's off the back of a really good fight for them. And it's giving Ivy Gaming a lot of time to scale here, a lot of time to finish up more items, and a lot of time to potentially pose a threat in these fights. You know, 3 items down for Mr. Da Vinci now. He's got the full AoE build with the Titanic Hydra and the Runaan's Hurricane. He's legitimately a threat at this point. They can't just wait around for Soul, surely, although they might be finding an opportunity to get here onto Alpha Sean. That's going to be the teleport getting channeled. They're going to have to come back him up now as soon as Mitochondrian comes on in. He gets jumped on. That's going to be that Fate Sealed thrown on through, but so far Mitochondrian staying alive with the help of that Death Realm. The engage comes on through from Lower Heaven. He goes dominating as he finishes off onto Bishop Warrior, has used the Inferno trigger and has been able to escape. That's going to be another kill coming through on a Mitochondrian, this time from Fire Ice Demon. It's a 3v5 on the map here. Pograts have won the fight yet again. Will this be the chance for them to close on out the game? It looks like not, if Nice War has taken a recall here.
Yeah, I feel like they're just taking way too many recalls, or someone gets picked out to the point of that they're dead, and it's just like, all right, let's just kind of have that calm phase, see you guys go through here. You already have the inhibitor down here again in mid, and have the inhibitor go over to them, hopefully here.
All right, Miro Rock's getting locked on down here, stepped up a little bit too far. Alpha Sean gets himself another kill, gets himself some more gold, is going to be that much closer to finishing off the Rabadons. Bishop is taking aggro from the turrets to try to protect this bot lane inhibitor, and actually is going to be able to do so successfully as Zeri arrives and rips through him pretty quickly.
Yeah, Zeri is just trying to just get these turrets down as much as possible, but it's just not going down as quickly as she'd like. And yeah, I think this is where people don't realize that, like, Hybra's like that weird sleeper pick that can really do well in lane, get ahead, hop on in team fights, is that extra like split pusher. So like if you don't get it from Miro, you're gonna get it then from Fire Ice. And I like that kind of idea coming out from Pograts, just because it's so different than the whole, okay, we're just scaling and hoping that people don't die between the Kindred and the Zillion Ultimates. But I still like what Ivy's been doing this game, though. It's a little different. They're getting there. I think maybe if they have a good fight, it could be a whole different story, but the problem is you never want to fight with Lower Heaven around.
Yeah, you definitely don't. They definitely want to try to get that Samira off the table early before they really want to take on the full 5v5. And Miro might be getting caught out here yet again. He's finding Ezio here, but he is in a 1v3 situation. They're going to block out off there onto that Fate Sealed, but now here comes the rest of the Pograts going in for the engage. Mr. Da Vinci can't find the opportunity. Mitochondrian has finished off onto Miro. That's the only kill of the fight so far. Alpha Sean is in a fight in the bottom lane with Fire Ice Demon, but he loses it. The Heimerdinger takes the solo kill once again and is going to take this bot lane inhibitor. That's going to force the remaining members of Ivy Gaming to recall and defend their base, and now they are missing their late game Vladimir, who they are so reliant on to really be able to pose a threat in these team fights.
Yeah, and without having that extra hemo plate going off for damage hit, but oh, sorry, she don't exist anymore.
No, she's completely deleted off the map, as are all 3 inhibitors, and now no Bishop, no Alpha Sean, and the Pograts back away once again. Is this game ever going to end, Gigatron? I mean, if that's not the moment, what is the moment?
Hopefully after they get the spare in here, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're embodying like the Bernie here, and just being like, oh, what? Once again, we're hoping that it's gonna happen, but it's not. Just because they're able to clear out these things, but they don't want to close out. And
They're gonna threaten the steal. Ezio is here. Ezio sliding on in. He's not going to be able to get it, though. He's getting locked on down. Here's the Rakan, getting the kills, getting the charms, stopping the fight from ever breaking on out. Alpha Sean and Ezio are down once again, and now the Pograts, you called it, Gigatron, they got the Baron, they got 2 kills once again, they've got all 5 members alive, and they are ready to end this game in 37 minutes.
Yeah, I think it was just more the fact of hope for the bait of people coming to the Baron, get the Baron, and then just burn them down, and here you go.
Big ultimate. That's going to be the cleanse coming through from lower heaven. This is the last stand that Ivy Gaming can make here. These Baroned up Siege minions from 3 missing inhibitors are so powerful. Da Vinci cannot clear them away, and the damage to the Nexus is coming through too fast. The Pograts claim game number 2 and take us to a game number 3.
Yeah, this is just a crazy series that we're going to see both teams take a game and that they're just able to do anything here. It's just crazy. I never would have thought that we would have seen 3 games here, just because the way that game 1 went for Pograts, it unfortunately didn't look good, but they turned the series around. It's really surprising, and it looks like a whole different team here right now.
Yeah, and from I never thought that game could take 37 minutes when they had like an 11k gold lead at 20. But you know, it takes a little bit longer. But the Pograts do finally close it on out, and that means we're gonna get a 3rd game tonight, Gigatron. As you know, let's just throw it to a break here. You know, we're gonna be back as soon as we can for the draft for game number 3. But until then, sit tight. We'll be back.
Everybody, panic! Hold on! I'm about to say something really cool. 3, 41, 9, and lift off! No one dies screaming without me. I feel like I forgot to shoot something. You're starting to bore me. She's such a loser, always ready to cry. Aw, come on. What's the worst that could happen?
Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast of the Aegis Defenders League, where the Pograts are back on the blue side. Both of these teams have doubled their number of wins in the Aegis Defenders League tonight, going up to 2, and now one of them is going to get an even further extra one and take themselves their first series here. Both of these squads at 0 and 5, one going to move up to 1 and 5 here, and going to at least have that stamp of being able to take out one of the other teams in your group. I think they're both out of consideration for being able to make it even to the play-in stage, but still, that mark of pride cannot be dismissed, and is certainly going to be a big deal for whichever one of these teams is able to claim it.
Oh, exactly. I mean, hey, it's just, who's the better loser out of the whole split is basically what we're looking at here. And again, I mean, either way it could go. I mean, the problem I worry about is if we watch Pograts win again, is it going to take over 40 or are we going to have something that is going to be more like Ivy, who cleaned it up a little bit better. Once they kind of realized they had their lead, they kind of kept trying to abuse it as much as possible, and once it was in their favor, didn't have to worry about it too much. So I think this is an interesting P1. I'm going with Lisa in right away for Pograts.
Yeah, Laser taking that one back in. Sock Delay is back in for Ivy Gaming. So Alpha Sean back on the bench, taking a break. They're bringing back Sock Delay. His Zoe, very good in game number 1, now is banned away. Zach going to be locked on in here for Ivy, so they're bringing in a whole new look.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I like the Zach idea. Helps with, just getting on top of people, making sure that they're not getting away, as well as just doing just a good amount of damage, too. And it's just a really good tank that I definitely love seeing in the jungle, but we'll see what Ivy decides. There we go.
Oh,
taking a little long pause there.
Yeah, as that is going to be the Aphelios locked on in here for the side of Ivy. So back to that one. We got to see that in game number 1 from Ivy for the side of Mr. Da Vinci. He had a fine game on it, and is going to be happy to take that one back. Here's the Samira Hover. Lower Heaven definitely feeling good about how he performed in game number 1 on that pick, or game number 2 on that pick, rather. And is going to lock it right back on in this time to challenge Mr. Da Vinci's Aphelios.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. We're going to get Blade Whirl to block a lot of just incoming projectiles. You do also have the Rakan again. So, again, it was a really good duo last game. I think it works well with the Lee Sin, too. I mean, they can run the salty run back if they really want to be honest. Not that it's salty for them, but they could definitely run the if it ain't broke, don't fix it comp. So
they certainly could. I think the Heimerdinger might get banned. I just don't think the side of Ivy looked very prepared to play against it, and they may very well want to take it off the table. I believe that is a Tom Kench, but I will double check in the lobby, see if that is actually a different selection. So far, though, it's looking like it is, in fact, that Tom Kench.
I think he works well in a support role right now, just able to eat people, run that a little bit faster. I think that's a quality of life thing he's needed, just because really, if you're going to try to take him out of top, you got to buff him somewhere else. Kind of a thing if you're gonna hit other numbers. And yeah, it's just a potentially interesting one for trying to save against the Rakan. Like, hey, yes, both of us get knocked up, but you're inside me, so you don't have to worry about taking the damage or potentially getting exposed. It's just me that's doing that with Tom Kent. So I think that's interesting. No Heimerman yet, but we do see Syndra and the Silas taken out.
Yeah, gotta keep in mind too that this Tom Kent could potentially be looking towards the top lane. Matacongian has already played it once this split, I believe. So, gonna keep that one in mind as a flex pick. The Zach can keep in mind as a flex pick as well. Zach's support has been floating around just a little bit, so could be that selection as well as in the jungle. I do think it's going to be in the jungle, though. Heimerdinger ban does come on through. Gragas lock-in means that it is not the Tom Kench top, means that it is not the Zach support, and now we know where everybody's going.
I mean, we could get some extra spice. I mean, this is bottom barrel. We could get something where it's maybe a Gragas jungle, heaven forbid, and then get the Zac support Tom top. I mean, that'd be real spicy, but I don't think they're gonna do that. But we see Vex is picked up right now for Pograts. So we're waiting for this P5 to come through. It's a Yone. Okay.
All right, so everything but the Heimerdinger. Everything but the Heimerdinger is back, and this time it's a champion that can get engages started like the other four. And instead of Heimerdinger, that was the opposite of that. So I love this comp for Pograts. This is like a better version of what they ran in game number 2 when they ended up winning. So definitely exciting to see them take into the Rift with this one. And the Vigar is the final lock-in for Ivy. That is what Sak'Ta'ley is going to be bringing in the mid lane up against this Vex.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good matchup for both of them. Just trying to see how those dives work out with the Shadow Surge, as well as Vigar just being able to stack his ability power as much as possible with his passive, and seeing if he can just blow people up. So I like to see how they play this one out, just because we've seen how the Gragas played. Game 1, he could definitely land some really good Everfrosts. I'm going to be combined with potentially Vigar's Everfrost as well. So I think those could be really good lockdown that Ivy needs, which then sets up for the Zac to slingshot in. You get the Abyssal Voyage coming in from Tom Kench as well, and hope that Aphelios can just upper people down with no problem. I think it's kind of really good coming out from Ivy too, though.
Yeah, great front to back here for Ivy, and I really like how much disengage they have up against the heavy engage style of the Pograts. And it feels crazy to call this a heavy engage style, given how we played out game number 2 and how long it took to actually close that one on out. But Ivy, have a really great ability to play on back once this Yone, this Rakan, this Vex, this Lee Sin all start diving in on them. They have the Tom Kench Devour to get people out. They have the Explosive Cask to knock people away. They have the Baby Cage from Vigar, that Event Horizon, to keep targets from being able to move into them any farther. And they have less bounce from Zac to interrupt their advance as well as he continues to retreat. So going to be very, very tough for them to keep these engages going if Ivy Gaming keeps grouped up and is playing these fights out correctly.
Yeah, I mean, if they play it correctly, Ivy could take this. It really could go. I feel like either way, just based on these comps, because like you said, they're running back the same one pretty much from last time, just coming out a little bit better from Pograts. And I don't know. It's really hard for me to decide on this one, who I want to give anything towards, just because I like what Pograts did last time, even if it's going to be done quicker this time around, or if you have the same comp, or not same comp, the more different comp that Ivy's playing that could potentially just captivate the game again. You have Vigar that can set up really well. You have Gragas, who performed again really well. I mean, hey, you know what? If you can be the wide weapon and just hit people as much as possible, yeah, you're gonna keep doing that. So I would like to see how Ivy takes this one. I mean, it could be Ivy. I'll say it. It might be Ivy with this one.
Yeah, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, what the difference is in having Sak'Ta'ley back on in. Sak'Ta'ley was able to take the fight to Fire Ice Demon in game number 1, and the Zoe versus Zillion matchup. Got some solo kills, was pretty far ahead throughout the game, and was a big part of that victory. In game number 2, Fire Ice Demon, of course, Alpha Sean was on a scaling pick in the Vladimir, but Fire Ice Demon was able to keep him pushed in all day long, was able to be a lot more influential throughout the game as a whole, and even in the super later game fights was able to win out in that one-on-one. Now that Sak'Ta'ley's back on in, we got to pay attention to what that might mean for the mid lane matchup, and if he's going to be able to beat Fire Ice Demon in the one-on-one once again this time, now that they're on maybe a little bit more even footing. And also, we got to look up towards that top lane. Mirarox and Mitochondrian have been going at it every game so far. There's been a lot of brawling. In game number 1, it was mostly Ivy coming out on top with that Gragas, who was just completely running away with the game. In game number 2, it was a lot closer. We saw solo kills on both sides, both for the Mordekaiser and the Yone. Now it is going to be the Gragas, who was so powerful in game number 1, up against this Yone, who Pograts were able to win with in game number 2.
Yeah, it definitely is a matchup I'm interested in seeing, as to see whose side favors it that little bit more. Again, we still have really good gank patterns coming out from IV2. You have that Zac that can just kind of hit from afar, leap in, hope that he gets Let's Bounce going, and can try to just pull people back. I think if that works out well for him, you're going to see a lot of kills go to Gragas, and potentially we can see roams from either the Vex or the Vigar here, more towards that top side too. It really just depends on how Laser wants to play it out. Is he going to play out through bot, or is he going to play out through that mid-top side? If he's going to do mid-top, then I think that's going to be just really reliant on how well you can punish Gragas. But again, Gragas, whether you build the tanky style or more the AP style, still really strong right now. He is able to just take on so many things, especially with Happy Hour. He has no problem just regaining health and just being the menace that I love and hate in top lane when I don't choose him or pick him.
Yeah, absolutely here. We're having a couple of issues in the client and being able to get into the game for this one, so we're going to throw it to a quick break here while we get loaded up onto the Rift. We'll be back as soon as we can to check out who's going to end up taking the victory tonight, whether it be Pograts or IV Gaming. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast of the Aegis Defenders League, where after a little bit of a break here, we are back onto the Rift with Pograts taking on Ivy Gaming Crystal Song. Only one of these squads is going to end up coming out with the win tonight. We are 1-1. It's all going to come down to this final game. Zach Delay back on in, playing the Vigar. We'll see what he's able to do for Ivy Gaming in this game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting one because now you're kind of like, you're playing with a team that's like trying to flex around a mid laner, see what performs, what doesn't with them. I think we get the kind of uniqueness of seeing Tom Kench and the Zach that, not that Tom isn't meta or anything, but the Zach, we really don't see Zach too much.
No, we don't. He's had a solid solo queue win rate for a while, especially in the preseason when Iceborne Gauntlet was just a little bit too strong. He was pretty up there in the win rates at that time. Has dropped down to more reasonable levels since those nerfs, but certainly is still a force to be reckoned with. He actually starts the jungle item and maybe a pink ward, although I don't see a pink ward thrown down anywhere, so maybe he just started the jungle item and didn't spend the rest of his money.
I mean, if you really think about it, he can sustain pretty well with his blobs, so he doesn't necessarily need to have pods. It's just good to have it. But yeah, doesn't need to technically have one. So, I think that's interesting though.
Yeah, certainly is here. But either way, my point about Zach was he brings in some very interesting gank paths. You know, he maxes that slingshot. It gives him a lot of range to be able to get in and make plays happen. So especially after he starts getting a couple of levels in the tank, I'm going to be interested to see how he can start forcing these ganks. You know, he's kind of like a mini Nocturne in a way. You know, he jumps from so far away that he really changes how you have to position and how you have to ward to protect against those ganks.
Exactly, because then now you gotta try to get like the ward into the tri-brush on that red side, and then now you try to have to get more wards ready to invade into the jungle, where that gives you that little bit of that risk of like, oh, this is not good, or no, this is good to try to get stuff. But this time around, Marrow just taking a lot more in trading compared to Matt.
Yeah, definitely is here. You know, going to be a little bit of a tougher lane for the Yone this time around. Has to face off against that Aegis, who is going to keep chugging with the Drunken Rage, going to keep getting tankier, and going to keep regenerating up with the Happy Hour as well. So definitely a little bit more of a force to deal with than the Mordekaiser in that early game. See how he ends up navigating this lane as it continues here. You can see Mitochondrian stepping up a little bit, trying to deny some CS wherever possible, has that level lead for just a split second, and wants to utilize it during that time.
Exactly, you should. Kind of like how you see there's a split level lead that they had there on his bot side between Samira and Rakan, but now we see the Zach is coming, and they need to get prepared for this.
Definitely do here. Ezio going to come on in, going to pull in Nice Ward and Lower Heaven. Gets a fair bit of damage there, but not going to be any other follow-up. The Flash gets forced out. It's going to be a successful gank for Ezio as far as he's concerned, even though he doesn't get any extra gold on the board. Can repeat gank it later on.
Exactly, that's the idea. Is like, hey, you know what? Gank a lane, so then you can burn sums to come back to. It's like when you kill a top laner who Rage Cage TP's back because he's like, oh, I don't want to lose CS and everything like that, and then you're like, well, I'm still up here, you realize that, right? So I can just go get that more that free gank of like, oh, well, now you already burned Flash, you already burned your TP, now you're going to be even more behind if I come get you and kill you. So
absolutely there. Mr. Da Vinci going to get engaged on a little bit. That's going to be an Abyssal Dive in there from Bisharp, but not going to land onto anybody. Going to take a little bit of abuse as he backs on off, but he has got the thick skin. He'll regenerate it back without too much trouble.
Yeah, nothing at all with that. We do see that, of course, our first Drake is a Hextech Drake. Neither junglers are opting towards it yet. I would love to see this go on to Pograts here. I don't know. Could be spicy with the Da Vinci though, getting that all that extra attack speed and ability haste.
Yeah, for certain here. They'll appreciate that one if they can get it. We'll see. Is Laser up on the top side of the map right now? Has been fishing around the mid lane for a little bit, trying to see if he can make something happen. Hasn't worked out quite yet. Mitochondrion gets a trade up against Miro Rocks there. You can see, off the first recall, Ezio was able to pick himself up that Bammy Cinder, so is on track to where he wants to be. I guess profited a little bit from not buying additional items at level 1 there, and now is looking to repeat gank in the bottom lane, knows that Lower Heaven still has the flash down, is going to get spotted out on that Vision Ward, though. Will be able to just clear it on out, and now maybe hope to come back a third time if he wants to be able to clean up the kill that he started earlier on.
Right. Hopefully you could try to clean up something, but looks like my guy's getting bullied out here. Is we see the Predator. How do you feel about the Predator?
Oh, alright. Dive on in. Another gank coming on through. Abyssal Dive slows down Lower Heaven's aggression, but is still going to take a lot of damage himself. Does have the Grey Hell Shield. Is going to pop it there. Now going to land on the Laser. There's going to be the Stretching Strikes, bringing in 2 targets. Picking up first blood for Ezio there. Nicely played. Going to be able to get an early lead here for the side of IV Gaming, and an early stoppage to whatever Laser's going for.
Delay is just taking a lot of damage here from Fire and Ice, but again, he's still trying to ramp up, see if he could get some more extra AP, get that primordial burst to do that a little bit more to him. But you're gonna see Drake is gonna go over to Ivy, and
Force flash there by Mitochondrion. He would have died if he had gotten hit there by that Fate Sealed. So good move to flash over it and escape, but nice play there by Miro Rocks in the one-on-one, very nearly picking up the solo kill, and now really threatening onto this Gragas, who doesn't have access to the flash, is just relying here on Happy Hour to keep himself sustained and alive, doesn't want to give up this wave very clearly, and is going to be able to clean up most of it, but it's down 20 CS-ish to Miro Rocks here. This Yone doing a lot of work here. That's going to be the Shadow Surge dodged away from Mitochondrion, but the follow-up might just be too strong here. Not staying alive even through the Drunken Rage. Flash in from Fire Ice Demon. Will be able to clean that one on up and put Pograts on the board.
Yep, really good by Pograts there. Unfortunately, you don't get the Shadow Surge to work out, but still able to capitalize on it. Unfortunately, the expense of a flash, but yeah, actually 2 flashes. But still, gets them a little bit more even in that case. You see across the board gold, it's pretty much the same. It'd be nice to see how, again, are they going to play through this bot or mid side, as we seeing that Fire and Ice is ready to roam as much as possible.
Certainly is here. Getting an early playoff, super important on this Vex, going to get him that nice little gold lead. He's done a good job of keeping Sac Delay pushed on in for the most part. Sac Delay is scaling up on this Vigar, but is not going to be able to match the roaming power that this Vex brings to the table, at least for a little while. He does have the Predator to be able to try to match it as best as he can, but as long as he's picking up these waves, he's not going to be able to do that. It's going to be on Ezio to try to find where Fire Ice Demon is going and either make plays happen on the other side or go in and respond to that gank in turn. This time it does end up going up towards Fire Ice Demon in the top lane. He picks up that kill and gets himself rolling the way that he wants to. Trades at the top lane. Mitochondrion back up in there trying to lane away, but is falling substantially behind. He's got only 45 CS so far. Hasn't been able to clear out any items off the back of how much Miro has denied him. Miro's got to be feeling very well about how this top lane is going.
Exactly. I mean, you're able to keep that lead. You're getting the items that you need to have early on, and
Alright, big engage from the Zac. It wasn't quite the doom and gloom being available yet, and that's going to be Laser coming in a little bit too early. Stuns himself up against the Event Horizon. Easy pickup for Sac Delay in the mid lane. Takes down Fire Ice Demon. just barely didn't have the Doom available to interrupt the dash there from Ezio of Mortem, and that means that kill is going to go on over there to the side of Ivy Gaming.
Exactly, and because of that, now they're getting themselves ahead that a little bit more. They have just really good positioning, getting all these slingshots off. This is where you kind of have to worry with having that is you're able to, again, provide that pressure that you want as a jungler in the lanes, be a menace, make sure you get your laners ahead. And now it's like, okay, hey, you know what? You may have had a CS lead over me now with the Vygar, but now Vygar is just ahead by, a wave at this point, and it's really kind of punishing the Vex because you had that, second kill going towards you, but now you've already died. You're losing out on that XP that CS. It brings you back almost even with the Vygar now, and you kind of have to wonder how well is this Vygar going to get ahead?
Certainly here. It's going to be very interesting to see how Sac-Delay continues to play out this mid lane. He's gotten himself a kill here early on. He's getting all of the CS. He's stacking up that evil to be able to have all that additional AP in one shot later on. And this is a pretty squishy team composition that the Pograts have put themselves together. So he's really going to have free reign to take whoever. Miro Rock's going to end up missing that Fate Sealed there, and that might make a huge difference as Ezio comes on in, uses the stretching strikes to pull back on in Laser, make it a 1-for-1 so far, but he's going to turn it into a double kill as now Sac-Delay finds himself in a 1v1 up against Fire Ice Demon and completely demolishes him with the Primordial Burst. Huge play there for Sac-Delay and for Ivy Gaming. They get 3 kills.
Yeah, 3 kills compared to 1. I mean, just really good for them. They played it well. You had the Zag come in with those stretchy arms, just lock down 2 people, able to still kill Mirror Rocks there, and it really worked well in their favor. Now this kind of puts them into a little bit better of a spot. You're almost closer towards that 2k gold lead. You're up the Drake. You're hoping that this next one here, as we see that the Infernal Drake's up, it could go towards them. And just gonna infinitely increase them just because of the fact that you get extra damage now. You already have a Hextech Drake, so you're getting already more attack speed with the ability haste. So regardless whether you're someone that
Pull back on in there by Fire Ice Demon. Or by Ezio on the Fire Ice Demon, rather. Not quite going to be able to clean anything up there. Miro taking a rough trade there up against Mitochondrian. Big damage from the Gragas, starting to get a few more levels in there despite his level disadvantage and his CS disadvantage. And again, gets another Marinated Barrel there on the Marrow Rocks. If he keeps taking those for free, not much to be done. That's going to be a steal attempt from Laser here, trying to get the Drake. Is going to be able to do so, but is going to lose his life for it. The CC chain is good, and Mr. Da Vinci picks up that kill for himself. That is going to be the Dragon going on over to the side of the Pograts. They're going to slow this soul stack from the side of Ivy Gaming.
it's just so crazy that they got that.
Oh, very close to being able to take down Mitochondrian there, but not quite enough damage in the tank. Marrow Rocks has not quite finished an item yet, but here's going to be another engage on the Fire Ice Demon. There's the Doom coming through just in time, going to stop the Zac in his tracks and save Fire Ice Demon from what certainly would have been another death.
Exactly. I mean, we still have the highlight. Again, Laser able to steal that dragon away. Just so good for Pograts.
Getting locked on down here. Let's Bounce has been popped. There's going to be the Shadow Surge coming on through here, though. Will Fire Ice Demon be able to claim another one? That's going to be forced into the Cell Division, and that's going to be Ezio falling on down. They give that Shutdown Gold over to Lower Heaven. They know what this Samira is going to be capable of in the later game. They saw it in game number 2, and they want to give her the kills yet again. Oh,
exactly as they should.
Matacani just stands there, drinks in his face, and loses his life for it, as now they're starting another fight in the bottom lane. Da Vinci going to be forced to flash away, returns with a nice use of the ultimate there. Sock Delay has teleported on in, has the Predator, is so fast, is coming to try to lock on in. That's going to be a huge Dragon's Rage from the Lee Sin, but Bishop Warrior is still in the middle of everyone. Flash on in, Event Horizon onto everybody, triple kill coming on through for Sock Delay. He is not willing to give up on that play, Dragon's Rage or not, and he gets all three scooped up into his pockets.
Oh my god, that is just so good for Sakule. You're just so far ahead now because you got, again, the really good Predator to get the cage out. You got your big cage hitting 2. You get the Event Horizon knocking out 2. You're able to still get another at that point. And now you're just exponentially just getting higher and higher. And I like this because now he's got a bigger bounty gold on him. But it's just showing why Fire is that kind of pivotal champion to have to kind of go into people like the Vex, coming out from Fire and Ice.
Yeah, absolutely here. Matacondrian has kind of been left out to dry a little bit in this top lane, but hey, if it means 5 kills going on over to Sock Delay, that's going to be huge for, the side of Ivy Gaming. They're going to be willing to sacrifice a little bit of gold on their Gragas. Matacondrian got his pop-off Gragas game in game number 1. This time, it's all about Sock Delay. It's all about the Vigar, and he has got a 10-stack Magi's to show for it here, so he is fully intending to put this game on his back.
Exactly. I mean, hey, you know what? I'm totally cool that someone's throwing everything on to them, and they can just carry the game. That's what you need. But now we're kind of waiting for a few things to come up. You have Baron's gonna be Rift Hero's gonna be coming up in 40 seconds. Baron's gonna be in less than 3. Hopefully we see someone decide to get picked up.
Ooh, Primordial Burst. Coming really close to finishing him off there, just a little bit of extra damage from anybody would have been enough to finish off on a nice ward there. He does manage to stay alive, but that turret going to be claimed for the side of Ivy Gaming, and, that threat going to be mailed out there from Sock Delay. He's going to tell everybody, hey, I'm going to one-shot you if you stay up just a little bit too close. I might not be all the way there yet, but my evil is growing.
Yeah, his evil definitely is. I think it's just people don't realize how just far ahead they can get with a Vigar if you can set yourself up well. And he's doing it right now. I mean, look at it. He's got a Magi's at 10 stacks. He just upgraded it. Now, hopefully, he can keep holding on to these and get it up to that 25 mark. But, we have, Drake coming up in about 40 seconds. We got Rift Herald already up. Kind of wondering what both teams are going to do. If they're going to just take Rift Herald up here on top side and still try to go towards that bot side of getting the Drake, or are they just going to give this one up?
Yeah, we'll have to see here. Lower Heaven going to take a little lick there from the side of Bishop Warrior, but no other follow-up to be found. Both top laners are collapsing towards this mid lane as well. Everybody's got this dragon on the mind here. That might be an engage coming through on a Matacondrian, but on the opposite side, it's going to be Ezio diving in onto Fear Ice Demon, and that is going to be a nice pickup there. Once again, going over to Sock Delay. Mitochondrian managed to escape. So that's just going to be an easy kill picked up for Ivy Gaming, and now going to move on to this dragon. They will be able to get it for themselves pretty easily here and go up 2-1 in that game.
Ezio just setting up perfectly well, just getting really good engages and really punishing out Pograts as much as possible. But we're going to see that second Drake does, or basically third Drake does go over to Ivy, but Ivy gets the Rift Herald sent onto their mid turret. So, as much as they weren't able to take it, it was still good to weaken it. I just wonder what Pograts can do now at this point to really keep themselves in the game. Like, sure, you can get picks, but are those picks worth it enough that stops the monstrosity of like Ezio or others?
And their side laning is still really strong, right? This Yone super far ahead. Mitochondrian can't really deal with him effectively. He's down 50 CS. 2-1-1 is Mira Rocks. He can still be that win con if they can play safely on the opposite side of the map, if they can keep forcing stuff through this split push. You can see he's going all in once again. This might be another solo kill. Is that the caster blessing that I see there, Gigatron? As soon as I bring it up, he picks up the solo kill? I think it is.
A blessing? Oh my god, we don't have a curse happen for once? I love it. It's great. But yeah, this is great though, because the fact that it shows Miro is again ahead so far.
Okay, he's got to. Well, all right. Well, you know, I was about to say he's got to avoid getting one shot by Mr. Da Vinci. He does not avoid getting one shot by Mr. Da Vinci, who's going to claim that big old shutdown in the top lane.
You know, one might say that he cannot crack the code. Da Vinci coming up there and just shutting him pretty easy. So, but yeah, I would like to see again that Miro keeps performing well with that, getting that split push going. Maybe he can get that turret or topside there for the base, and maybe if he could do that, or just even try to split mid, and they force the other four to go on the bot side, it'd be really good. It's just getting to that point is really going to be a problem, because now again you're not even putting Vex up there. You're still putting Yon up there. I think Yon would work well on the bot side, potentially get like that turret going out for him, being able to clear out the outer, get that inner too. I'm surprised they're not switching up for that.
Yeah, no, still really focused on that top side of the map is Miro Rocks, who's going on in, clearing on out Vision, you know, making sure that they have some control over the Baron here with the dragon still dead. You know, you can argue that having your strong side up in the top lane is better to avoid ending up giving over Baron to the side of Ivy Gaming, but I do agree it's tough for them to really get other objectives, although there is a big wave on that bot lane turret right now, and nobody really dealing with it from the side of Ivy. They're instead looking to set up plays. Miro Rocks goes all in once again. This time has Laser for the backup. Laser going to try to go and finish this one on off. Doesn't want to use the Dragon's Rage. Is just going to save it to last hit to kill. Laser will get himself his first of the game there as Mitochondrian goes into the gray screen once again.
Yeah, I hate saying it, but the man is feeling very much like a gray screen one trick right now for Mitochondrian. But yeah, again, he's also getting bullied on a lot. I mean, you have Miro just perform very well again on getting solo kills, but Laser just locking him down with a Dragon's Rage as much as possible right now. But we do have a Drake coming up here in about a little less than a minute and a half. I'm hoping that potentially, unfortunately, it is the air Drake. Not everyone's going to prioritize that. Maybe we see a Baron fight happen.
Perhaps here. Another dragon going to be up in about a minute. See what the move is on that one. They are just on the side of Pograts, still keeping on farming, still funneling as much gold as they can into this Yone. They feel like he's their best shot, and they really want to get him onto a second item, maybe even a third, before they want to start breaking out into these fights and seeing if they can get Miro Rocks to navigate his way through them effectively enough to be able to come on out ahead. Really would need to get onto Sac Delay, especially, who they are now throwing into this solo lane up against the Yone. He is down a level here, and he does have the stopwatch, even though he doesn't have the Zonias, but still, feels pretty risky there to be the Vigar going up with so much gold on you, facing off against this fed Yone. Definitely dangerous games there for Sac Delay. We'll see how he navigates it.
Yeah, it's dangerous games. I think the big thing is trying to figure out what's going to be beneficial and kind of capitalizing it. But we are going to see that Drake is going to be started here, it looks like, for Ivy. Do we get in a Dragon Steel?
No, and tag out there. Mitochondrian and Sac Delay pass each other as Mitochondrian going back up to the top lane so that Sac Delay can be here for the dragon fight. That's another Dragon Steal, though, for Laser. You know, the Dragon Soul plan not really working out here for Ivy Gaming. They once again get the kill onto Laser, but Laser You know, he's buying all the time in the world for the Pograts here. The question is, can they utilize it to be able to get themselves back into this game? But with the jungler down, this might be the call from Ivy Gaming to go and try to start up the Baron. Lower Heaven is getting chased away here by Ezio. The rest of the follow-up is coming on through. He uses the Elastic Slingshot to close the rest of the gap, but getting turned around on now by the Inferno Trigger, gets forced to the Cell Division, is going to be coming back on up. His team is there to defend him, as the Mistral Bolts aren't quite enough to deal with those Bloblets. They are now going to move back, regroup around to the Baron. You've got to think here, trying to clear out vision wherever they can. Bisharp Warrior maybe up a little bit too far here. There's going to be the flank engage from Miro Rocks. That's going to be a nice devour there from Bisharp. Going to save Sock Delay's life, and now Miro Rocks is locked on down. Is going to have to snap back to his soul sooner or later, and is going to die as soon as he does. Bisharp Warrior picks that kill on up, and with the Yone off the map, this should be a clean fight here for the side of Ivy Gaming. Good lockdown there with the Event Horizon, going to force multiple flashes. That's going to be Explosive Cask to knock Fire Ice Demon back into the wave. Bisharp Warrior looking to keep the dive going. Going to end up back away, but Fire Ice Demon is stuck, is cut off from the rest of the team, and is cut down. Now Laser stuck in the Event Horizon next, going to stun himself, not quite going to be able to die, but is going to finally fall on down as Ezio delivers the last bit of damage. 5 members strong, Ivy Gaming are going to claim this mid-inner turret, and they're going to crack open the base.
Yeah, they definitely are at this point, and yeah, again, just Ivy's trying to capitalize this game as much as possible. They're taking the fights that they need to. Everything's swinging towards their favor, and even though that you are losing a little bit on the Drakes there, you get 2 stolen away from you, I think it's still perfectly fine for them. They just need to set up for this Baron, see if they can close out the game here, and be good to go.
Mirror Rock trying so hard to force on a Sock Delay here. Might be able to take him on out, but the Stasis going to keep him alive for just a little bit too long. Lower Heaven going to go on in and finish off on a Bisharp Warrior. Now there's a TP being channeled here as Fire Ice Demon wants to get the fight started once again, but is just going to find himself getting one shot by Ezio. Flash forward for Mr. Da Vinci. He's got so many shock rooms, and he wants to use them. Mitochondrion is rejoining the fight here, going to knock Nice Ward out of the potential quickness engage. Mitochondrion going to be able to finish off that kill on a Lower Heaven off the back of the Explosive Cask. And that's going to be 4 kills going on over to the side of Ivy Gaming. And now they can finally potentially start the Baron, or they can look to just keep pushing on into this base. Teleport being channeled. They already have the mid lane inhibitor, Gigatron. And you know what this means? They might be looking towards Nexus turrets.
Definitely, I think they are. And they definitely could get at least one. I don't know if they get both, but they could definitely get one. Faster with the kick there.
Laser almost getting pulled back on into the Event Horizon. They are going to get one, as you called on out, and now backing on away is the rest of Ivy Gaming. They might look towards the Baron next. They're starting to ping towards that side of the map. They still have red-white guns on Mr. Da Vinci that will allow them to do it very, very quickly.
Exactly. Hey, do it quick, do it easy, no problems here. And I think if they get this, this could definitely swing them into winning this game so they can close out. What if Ivy doesn't get this Baron? It's
Event Horizon landing on the Fire Ice Demon. That means he is not going to be long for this world. Mr. Da Vinci steps up into melee range with the chakrams. He's ready to take the fight, and he takes the triple kill here to start it on off. That's going to be a one-shot from Sock Delay onto the opposing team's main carry. That's going to be a quadra kill coming on through for Mr. Da Vinci, and that should be the end of this series. Gigatron, 5-0 ace for Ivy Gaming. Crystal Song, they push into the base. They've already taken one Nexus turret there. They've only got one more left to clean on up.
Yeah, just one more and then hit down that Nexus. And yeah, again, this is going to be game number 3 going to Ivy. Just, it was such a crazy one because you had the sub in there for the first one. Performed very well. Second game went pretty crazy to the point of like, okay, now Pograts is getting this. And now we kind of see that swing back going towards Ivy. Ivy just played it again very well. Under the 40-minute mark, you get these Barons. If we don't get Baron, just play for it. They'll make a mistake, and they can collapse on it, and that's what they did. So, again, great job by Ivy.
Yeah, definitely a great win there for them. They end up taking down both wins there. And we called it out in Champions Select. Sock Delay coming back onto the roster here in game number 3. Huge pop off game here on that Vigar. You know, Mr. Da Vinci, they both have 8 kills, but Mr. Da Vinci got 4 of them in the last fight. Well, it was already pretty much a formality. Sock Delay is the one who picked up so many of these in the early and mid game fights, is the one who got such a substantial lead here for the rest of the team, and just did so much in these fights to really take the members of the Pograts on out here. Pograts will drop to 0-6. Ivy Gaming Crystal Song will move to 1-5.
Yeah, I mean, this is gonna be a crazy one, but again, I it's so. We said someone's gonna triple their winnings here, and they definitely went over to Ivy. So good job by Ivy.
Yeah, Ivy triple them, Pograts double them. It's a good night all around from that perspective. But it is only Ivy Gaming Crystal Song who end up walking away here with the dub. They will move up to 1-5. They will not end this group in last, probably, as the Pograts still have a chance to play one more series next week. Not 100% sure who that's going to be against, but will determine if they are going to go the full 0-7. Ivy Gaming Crystal Song will also have another game next week to try to make something happen, as it looks like Mitochondrian is going to join us here for a little bit of a post-game interview.
Hello, hello.
All right, coming on in here, Matt. Welcome to the desk. Congratulations on your win there, and it feels like it was a really long series there, especially with how long game number 2 went. How do you feel about how your team was able to perform tonight?
Yeah, if I'm being completely honest, it's a melancholic win. So I mean, it sucks we gotta take down the Pograts. That's probably the worst feeling in the world, honestly. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, I think we managed to actually show up. We played well. We had Cole come in, sub for us mid lane game 1, and he showed game 3 as well. I mean, I think he performed insanely well. I don't think I could have asked for anything better, and I just think the team was firing on all cylinders. Just things were clicking, and yeah, it just went really well, I think.
Yeah, I'd definitely say that. I mean, game 1 was really good and captivating by you guys. Game 2, it was kind of just all right. Well, progress got that kind of ahead, and as much as the chagrin of that, that's okay. It happens. You can always give a game, and yeah, it always sucks that you have to go to 3 sometimes. But I mean, you guys played well with the Gragas. The Gragas just doing a lot of good damage, really good utility. The Everfrost go off with Cask is always really good, and you guys set up a lot too. One thing here I gotta ask you. So game 1, you had 2 of them that you were fighting up there. I believe it was what, the Jax and Jarva, wasn't it, Gordo? Right?
Yeah.
How did you feel about hitting both of them at once? That was crazy what you did there with that.
Yeah, which one are you talking about? When
There's a body slam in a fight around the top lane where you had Kindred behind you and you had Jax in front of you, and you ended up hitting both of them. That was nuts.
If I'm being completely honest, that's just some riot latency BS probably. That's just the Gragas fucking scuba hitbox being way too goddamn big, I think. Because my goal there was, I knew I could only hit one, and I'm genuinely thinking there, like, I don't know if we're able to actually kill the Kindred there. So I'm thinking, like, Kindred has mobility. I'm not sure, 100% sure if he has flash. Just being able to hit both of them is kind of just a blessing from Riot, honestly.
Good to hear. Jumping out of the Gragas train here, I saw you mentioned in Twitch chat that you didn't, you weren't quite able to get the runes you were looking for there in that game number 3. So what happened there, and how did you navigate it in your build, and in how you played out that game number 3?
Yeah. So for reference, I play on a 6-year-old laptop that was old when it was six years ago.
Okay.
And it has a habit of not allowing me to have the client work properly. So that's why going into game 2 to game 3 took forever, because my client just wasn't loading. But yeah, so I was able to luckily get through bans. Don't know how that happened. Luckily, able to lock my champion in. But oh my god, when I'm sitting there and I'm having my team try to count me down because I'm like, I do not want to play Conqueror Gragas. Because I played Mordekaiser last game. I have my runes defaulted to Conqueror. So I'm trying to do something like, okay, maybe I can at least do like the default sorcery room page, because I think that has phase rush. But it defaults me the domination electrocute 1. So here I'm playing electrocute. Honestly, there were a few trades. I'm like, okay, the electrocute's kind of popping off, and then I'm realizing, wait, crap, I don't have phase rush. And then there's a Yone with Q3 stacked E alt, and I have no mobility. So in hindsight, probably should have just went Everfrost full tank. But
Worked out.
I know I see Turtle in Twitch chat asking about the Swifties. That's just the Swifties cosmic drive tech for the pseudo phase rush.
All right, you got it. Yeah, you got to get the movement speed somewhere if you can't get it there. It makes sense. Makes sense.
I think I did my job. I mean, I know for a fact Mid and ADC did their job. Bisharp Warrior on the Tom Kench. I mean, we were there trying to go, well, we can maybe do like Leon or something. He was adamant about the Tom Kench. I think Tom Kench is able to make that Vhagar be able to be as safe as possible. There's an instance we're fighting in top jungle where Vhagar should be dead. Like, in all instances, Vhagar is sitting there, no mana, no sums, in stopwatch with a Yone E ticking on him. We're able to eat Vhagar out of that, and Vhagar's able to live, and Vhagar doesn't die this whole game. And I think in that instance, if I'm being completely honest, that 1,000 gold shutdown going to Yone or Samira, right next to Baron, I feel like that's almost game flipping there.
Yeah, I mean, here's the other thing too. I look at just the electrocute. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world that you had to take. I mean, you could have had a Conqueror. The Conqueror would have been probably it could have been real bad with that, because you're trying to find them out and it just isn't stacking up quick enough, kind of a thing. But this is where, again, Gragas is that nice versatility. Like, worst case scenario, you just could take a grasp, because you know he has to go in on you, and you could just sustain through everything and just play more of that, again, tank style like you talked about. You could have even went not even Everfrost. You could have went the tank item. One of the tank items, like was it Crossfire or
Chem tank probably.
Chem tank.
Yeah, I do have to chalk up the Gragas to picks to honestly to or mid, because there's a lot of times I get kind of focused in on my champ pool. I forgot I can play Gragas, and Gragas I think is very slept on. Gragas is super good into the meta and super counters these hard engage comps. So we're able to body slam just for free, gets rid of Lee Sin Q, Samira dash, Samira alt, stops Rakan W. Being able to play the Gragas allows us to pick the Tahm Kench and allows us to make our carries a lot safer. Because I kind of resigned this game to realizing, like, okay, I'm not getting another 10-0 game. That's just something that's not really going to happen. I don't have the
You can blame the Masteries for that.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's 100% exactly what happened. I totally did not grief at all. That's definitely what happened.
No.
I just kind of, it's just that adapting on the fly and realizing, got to put my ego aside. I'm not the carry this game. I have a Vhagar and Aphelios. What am I going to do to be able to enable those carries?
That's awesome to hear. I think we're going to close out the stream here in just a couple short moments, but I want to give you the opportunity to shout out anybody you want to here, or anything you want to say to everybody watching at home here who stayed in tune for the whole big banger 3-match series. Whatever you want to say.
Yeah, just thank everyone for sticking out. I'd like to thank the entire chat for spamming Let's Go Ivy Gaming. I saw those spam these hats to help Ivy Gaming. I saw all those in chat. Really appreciate, really hyped us up. I know we are the fan favorites. I know there is an Ivy Gaming sticker in Aegis Esports. So yeah, I'm just glad that, the People's Champs, I'm sure we won. So yeah, but no, in all seriousness, amazing game. Love Pograts. Games were very back and forth. Things could have flipped on a dime. So really good set. Everyone played amazing. Look forward to next week.
Yeah, great to hear. All right. Well, thank you for joining us here, Matt. And thank you, everybody at home, for tuning on in today. And from myself, Gigatron, and Malcolm on production, have yourselves a great night. We're going to be back next week with more ADL. We're going to be back throughout the week with more other Aegis leagues. And until then, we will see you